everybody. Welcome to the Players Take episode 225. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, freshly back from a vacation, and joined as always by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are you this
Hey,
week?
I am doing fine actually this week. Last week was kind of rough, but this week was a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I did listen to the show. You and DJ did a great job. Thank you for covering for me while I was out to both of you, of course.
No problem.
And, yeah, it was a good episode. You guys had some nice talks there. You guys did the thing that me and you always do. It was funny to listen to. We're we talk about the games we're playing for way too long.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, there were points where you're like, all right, we got to get into the news. And like it went on for another 15 minutes after that, and then you finally got into the news. It was very fun. It was enjoyable to listen to. So, it's just how we are, man. This is what we do on this show. We talk about the games we're playing, which we will certainly be doing this week as well. So, I mean, outside of last week's episode, though, how's life, Montreal? How are you doing?
Everything's coming a little bit more stable now. I don't know. It seemed like after that Memorial weekend, everything was going crazy, but a lot more things are stable now. I have my friend, her and her husband are coming to visit me and my wife, just to congratulate us or whatever. So they're gonna be coming up here on Sunday. So have some fun. And yeah, I don't know. It's just been a really cool mellow week for me so far. I hurt myself just 2 days ago working out, but I'm all right now. So,
well, take care of yourself, of course. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm been good. I've been on vacation for like a week and a half now, and the beach was good. We missed the heat wave that's pushing through this week down there, and it's like fucking like 110 degrees or some crazy shit. And there's like rip tides and shit. So we went at the right time, looks like, and been back here all week. Been playing a lot of Diablo 4, which I will be getting into, and then some other stuff. Not too much else though. Mostly just relaxing for the most part. So, all right, well, let's get into it, Montreal. Let me do the rigmarole, and then we'll get into the show here. So, for those of you who have not listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right. First things first, I just wanted to mention this, that we don't need to do a deep dive on this, but this happened last week, and it is video game adjacent. We've been talking about this in the game space, and it's happening in other spaces as well. So the Live Golf Tour, LIV Golf Tour, was announced last week. They are merging with the PGA Tour. This is fucking insane that this is actually happening. The PGA Tour is an American golf tour, obviously the Pro Tour for golf, the main one that I've ever known in my entire life. And this Live Tour has popped up in recent years, and it is based out of Saudi Arabia, like the Saudi Arabian government, the same one we've been talking about that's been investing in video games.
yeah.
And a bunch of pro players moved over from the PGA to the LIV Tour in recent years. Some pretty notable names, like the biggest one I know of is Phil Mickelson. I'm assuming due to money, of course, pay and whatnot. And I think eventually they've done enough damage to the point that the PGA Tour felt the need to make a move, I guess. So this is a big thing in golf. Obviously, we don't need to get into the deep dive on that part of it, but I did want to mention it and bring it up because we've been talking about Saudi Arabia in the game space for a while. They are very clearly trying to diversify the way they make money outside of oil.
Yes.
And we're seeing it. This is the biggest story to come out of that whole thing. The stuff in video games is honestly small potatoes in comparison to this, in my opinion, but it is notable. So I would expect we should continue to expect investments in the game space from them going forward. So we shall see what comes of all this. So
yeah, it's I mean, it doesn't seem like anything now for people, and I understand like it's not in our country or whatever, and all other stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I feel like this can affect the way we consume stuff because they already banned Spider-Man over there, the new Spider-Man game, over a flag, over the trans flag, that barely I don't even remember seeing the fucking flag in the movie. So they really had to be
Oh,
looking
the
for
new
the shit.
movie. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
new movie.
yeah.
So I don't even remember seeing it. I asked my wife, did she see it? And she was like, I don't remember seeing that shit either. But they banned the movie over there. So that's just like a little hint of what's to come if like, more stuff start going over there and then all these other, people start participating, all this stuff like that. Like they could potentially start banning that stuff as well. Um, I don't know how it will affect video games and everything, but that's just my main concern. I don't really care like going over to Saudi Arabia or anything like that, but that's just my main concern with the censorship. That can
Hmm.
come from like these countries and everything like that, like China and like Saudi Arabia and everything like that. So
Yeah.
it's gonna
I
be
mean,
interesting to see.
this is a country with a culture and a government who has views very much on the opposite side of the pendulum from the United States. So, um, the more they own, the more they kind of get their tendrils out there to the point where they start having control over certain things. They
Hmm.
can make changes. They will own if they own a game studio, right? They can tell that studio what to do with their game
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly,
That
exactly.
doesn't mean they necessarily will. We've seen this with China. It doesn't necessarily mean they will, but sometimes they might, depending on the thing. I mean, we've seen that with China too, where they, Activision Blizzard fucking took the whole Tiananmen Square cinematic out of a Call of Duty game recently,
Well,
Um,
not even that. They fucking removed a player from their circuit, one of their live circuits, or Overwatch, I think it was,
it was
or
Hearthstone,
something like. It was Hearthstone, and they removed him
the
from
free
it.
Hong Kong thing. Yep.
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 So
So yeah, I mean, we've seen that influence, right? And that isn't even that isn't overt where it's like they own Activision Blizzard. They don't own Activision Blizzard.
they don't.
That's more of an American company fucking kowtowing to a giant economy, basically.
Yep.
But we could see the same thing happen with Saudi Arabia, you know.
Yep.
So just keep your eyes and ears peeled, everybody. We'll continue to cover it here, but I just wanted to bring this up because this was a big story worldwide. So all right. Outside of that, let's get into what we've been playing, Montreal. So, do you want to go first, or do you like me to go first this week? I'm going to talk about Diablo. I think I kind of want to hear your thoughts on that first before I get into
Okay.
mine. So I can go over everything else I've been playing otherwise. In the 2 weeks I've been gone, I played. I actually got out of the place I was stuck in Metroid Prime
Hmm.
on the way to and from Padre on the plane. I was able to get a lot further. I'm in the I think it's the Phazon mines, is what it's called. I think it's the last area that's in the game. I finally made it there and got past the blockage I was having of about where to go, basically, and that was that. So the game just continues to be cool for me. Where I like always forget these little things. I like kind of forgot about the Phazon mines. I didn't forget about them, but I didn't remember that it was a whole area by itself. And it's really cool because it's like a culmination of all these little hints you be getting throughout the game of the pirates and their infiltration into Talon 4, like the planet you're on. And
Yeah.
you get an idea of what they have been doing, and you literally infiltrate their fucking base. Like it's awesome. It's like really cool. It's actually a really heavy combat section of the game, and is surprisingly difficult. Because up to that point, the game is like a joke in terms of combat. You're like literally never threatened of dying. There was a point on the plane where I got pretty far and I was really low on energy and I fucking died. And I had to do the whole thing again. So it's an interesting contrast with the rest of the game because the rest of the game up to that point has been mostly chill. There have been some mildly challenging combat areas, particularly around the pirate places you go into in the Findrana Drifts. I believe there's a pirate base there as well, but that one's not nearly as challenging as the one in the Phazon Mines. Yeah, it's just it's a fun. It's just a really good game, man. I don't know. I'm not playing it a ton. Like I'm kind of playing it really on and off at this point, but I'm getting close to the end, and I think I may try to finish it this weekend. Actually, because I'd like to get it off my plate so I can actually start Zelda on the Switch. But if you haven't played Metroid Prime, I can't recommend it enough to people. Like, it is such an immersive, like, awesome game. It has such a good setting and interesting lore, and just the way it presents itself. Like, it is one of the first examples we have of like really good environmental storytelling in a video
Yeah.
game, and it came from Nintendo of all places. So yeah, with all the things that like Naughty Dog and a lot of other studios in PlayStation's world have done in the last, decade and a half, like Nintendo did it with retro and in this game early on, a lot earlier. So this game came out in like 2002, I think, or 2003. So yeah, it's a great game. Definitely recommend it. Other than that, still playing Honkai. I've got this game to the point where I've pretty much done literally everything available for the most part. That isn't like gated by my level. So I'm pretty much like logging in every day, doing playing for like, I don't know, 30 minutes, and then getting off. It's kind of the place I'm at with this game. And then Telluride 3, before I went on vacation, I played this a little bit. I got back into it. Probably going to start playing this a little more heavily this weekend as well to get back into this. And it's just, I don't know. It's just so easy to jump back into. Like, this game is just so fun. I don't know why I enjoy this game so much, but I really do. It is just it's such a fun, chill game. That it's like, the combat is not that hard. I don't really need it to be, though. It's fine. It's just a really, I don't know. It's just a fun resource collection game, crafting game. It's just a good way to kind of chill out, I guess. And other than that, that's pretty much all I've been playing. Diablo 4 was the other thing I've been playing heavily, so I'll get into that once Montreal is done. But yeah, what have you been playing, man?
So yeah, I've also been playing Diablo, but I forgot to put it on the list. But yeah, so I'm gonna talk about that last. I've been playing Death Stranding. I know y'all probably heard my praise of it last week. Haven't really touched it too much this week. I had a lot going on, and I was playing Diablo, trying to get into that as well. So I'm probably gonna get back into it. Um, but yeah, I actually love that game a lot. It's a really chill game, with moments of stress. But I don't know. The more you play the game, the more everything becomes manageable. And it's just a weird. It's a weird, like, manage simulator, walking simulator type deal. It's just, I don't know what Kojima was thinking when he made this fucking game, but he did it. And
Yeah.
I appreciate him for it. It's a really good game. I probably would have been upset, I guess, if I bought it for $60, but since I got it for free, I'm just enjoying it, and I don't feel the need to play it.
Hmm.
Uh, and I recommend. I'm playing a director's cut, so I do recommend people, if you have PlayStation Extra, just pick it up
Yeah.
and download it and play it. It's a really good game, especially like if you're in the rut between games. So yeah. Also been playing more Battlefield 5. They just released another season, or a
Mm.
season update. I
Battlefield 2042, you mean, right?
I'm sorry, Battlefield 2042, yeah. Because they released season 5. There you go. They released season 5 in Battlefield 2042. Um I don't know. The game, like I said, is okay to play as well. It's just a nice pick up and play game. I still have my I saw a whole bunch of YouTube videos popping up on my feed though, before I started playing it. And like, oh, Battlefield 2042 is fixed and it's good now. And it's like, it's decent, but it's
Mhm.
still not Battlefield, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh there's certain instances where, like, I'm fighting and everything, and all the characters, since they have the same operators, they all look the same and everything like that. And I was talking to DJ last week about enemy silhouette, and we learned that in school about silhouettes of characters and everything like that. And I don't know if they missed that tenet of, like, the character design in school, but it's very flawed in this game. I remember they actually released a hardcore mode for this game where it's like no HUD. So without the HUD, it's literally impossible to tell who's your teammate.
Mm.
Without like a blue dot or a blue Q over your teammate's
Yeah.
face, because all the operators look the same. They have the same type of heroes and stuff like that. Um, there'll be Russian side, and they're if you're on the Russian side, the characters will speak with a Russian accent, but it's still the same character as on the American side or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. It's just a weird game. They did not fix the game. I played a Portal version where they have like the other modes in there. I primarily played that, like the Battlefield 3 and everything like that in there. Um, but it's not fixed by a long run. I commend their efforts to fix it or try to fix it and keep going. But at this point, just give me another Battlefield and just don't learn your lessons from this Battlefield and don't fuck up. I said on my Twitter the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty. They keep trying to mesh it together, and these are two
Mhm.
fundamentally different games. Call of Duty has skills and perks and everything to make sure that your individual skill within the team can shine. So it's not necessarily a team game. It's an individual skill game.
Yeah.
It's designed for like one player to go in there. Whereas with Battlefield, it's fundamental. They don't have skills or perks or anything like that. Your class has that perk or skill, and you are contributing to the team. That's how you get points. That's how you get on the leaderboards and everything of that nature. Yes, you can get kills and everything of that nature, but your main contribution is to the team. You are a soldier on the battlefield, and
Mhm.
I feel like this game fundamentally did not get that at all. Um, it is one of the worst battlefields to date. Like it's worse than, in my opinion, it's worse than Battlefield Hardline. Like this is worse than
Jeez.
Battlefield Hardline.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's not a amount of stuff they can do to save this game. Like I said, it's decent, but I'm only playing it because I bought it. Like I bought it on launch, and I regret that. So um to me, this is up there with like Cyberpunk as far as like, you know, bullshit and all the other shit like that. Um, it's just not a good game. Well, I wouldn't say buy the game at all. I wouldn't recommend buying this game at all unless you already have it. Don't buy it. Um, uh, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 5 in a while because I've just been playing so many games.
Yeah,
So
man. You're
I
on a fucking you're on a tear right now. Last few weeks.
yeah. So I haven't been playing Metal Gear Solid 5. I did reach the African continent, and I'm about to do the missions over there and everything like that. But I need to get back to playing this as well. Ghostwire Tokyo, I played like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours of this game. I think I'm gonna put this one on the back burner. It's a fun game. Um, I just need to focus on it more. I don't have the time to focus on it. It's nothing bad about it or anything like that. It's a more of a, like I said, you can do detective things, and you have your spirits and you have your powers and everything like that. I think it's a very unique game, but yeah, I just have to play it more. Um, and then I've been playing Damien X Machina. I've been really fiending for some type of fucking mech game.
Mhm.
So I downloaded this on PC. It was $20, and I've been playing it, and I love it. There are some issues with it that I think Armor Core 6 is gonna fill. But this is just like a, fucking snack until I get my main fill from,
Mhm.
Armor Core 6.
Yeah.
But it's doing this job. But I can definitely tell like this is the first game. I think the second game is gonna be a lot better. And they're gonna pick up and improve off that. I play Halo Infinite, so this is another game I can just jump in, play, play like 3 matches, and then leave. Even if I do terrible, like I don't fucking care. Like I just don't care.
Yeah, you're not gonna
I
play it all night, right? It's like a
Yeah,
yeah, you just want some kind of multiplayer fix. Yeah.
exactly. Like Battlefield and Halo Infinite are one of those games. My Halo skills, like it's one of those things like when you ride a bike, it never goes away. I'm pretty sure it's like the same thing with you in Warcraft 3 or something of that
Mm,
nature. Like it just never goes away. You
here's
can
my
probably jump
magic.
into a multiplayer game and do your thing
Yeah.
after like a couple matches. Same thing with me in Halo. Like I jumped in and I was getting like I was going like 15-5 and everything like that. Then they started skill matching me with people in my skill and everything, and it was still the same. Um, I was doing, relatively good and everything, keeping up. But then I just stopped playing after like 4 or 5 matches. I stopped playing because I got my fix, and then I went to a single player game. And then I started playing Final Fantasy 16 demo, and you actually can. So I'm not gonna. The demo is canon. It is the first part of the game. Not all of it. The first like 2 or 3 hours of the game. So I'm not gonna say anything too much about it until you played it. But you
Mhm.
can carry over your save into the main game,
Yeah.
that's why I said I'm not gonna really talk about it too much. But I'm not gonna talk about the story. But the story is good. Like it's damn good. it's 14 but better. Like it's good. It's some good
Okay.
shit. It's probably to me, in my opinion, it's better than 14. But you have to be a judge of that. But like Heaven Sword of 14, like this is that, but
Yeah.
like better.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely see the elements of Game of Thrones in there and everything of that nature. Um, I think the action combat is decent. I don't think they went far enough with it. It's really good though. But it's still trying to hold on to that RPG element of Final Fantasy, which
Mm.
I kind of think they should just let go at this point. Like just go
Mhm.
full action, which is the game, which this game is. But like I said, it's still trying to hold on to its roots, and I understand. Uh, but yeah, it's a really good game. Uh, I think the combat's solid, the set pieces are solid. Um, yeah, man, like I don't know what else to say. It. The game blew me away. I will say that. I was just like, because I went dark. Me and you went dark in this game, so I knew nothing about anything besides
Yeah.
like the gameplay.
Yep.
And yeah, like the first 2 hours, I was even stunned at some of the shit that happened. I was like, holy shit! Like you know, so they definitely took elements of Game of Thrones, especially the first season of Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
Mhm.
In it, I think you should play it, Justin. Give it a whirl and see what you think about it.
Word.
But I and then Diablo 4. So Diablo 4 I've been playing and I like this game. I do like this game. Um it's just something there.
Speak your truth, man.
Yeah, it's just something there that I get bored easily with it. I don't know what it is. Like and
Oh
it's
boy,
like
yeah.
I find
I
myself
feel
since it's
you.
so cheap now, since it's
Mhm.
so cheap to switch your skills, I find myself switching my skills often to keep it fresh for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do. I think that's why they designed the game that way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I'm starting to think maybe the rogue isn't the class for me because I really wanted to play like a melee heavy class, and I see people do some crazy shit with rogue so far.
I'm
But
playing heavy melee.
you playing
I
Halo
should show you
melee?
my I
Okay.
should show you my gameplay because it's actually um the gameplay side of it for me is actually pretty good with the rogue.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
playing melee only. Like I have no range skills at all.
Okay.
So I like I'm committing to that. And I know that might not be the best way to play the class potentially, but I don't care because that is what I wanted to do. So I may start dabbling with like a hybrid build at some point because I realized I forgot. There's no weapon swap with rogue. You just use your bow and your melee weapons at the same time. It doesn't matter. There's no swapping. So
Yeah.
so you can use the range skills and the melee skills all at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm primarily range. I do have a couple of physical skills, um, and I actually found my balance with that. So I'm actually using that. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, sometimes I'm playing it and I get into the groove of things and everything like that. I can go for like maybe 3 hours, 2 or 3
Hmm.
hours, and then I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, I think I'm ready to like put it down.
yeah,
Um, I did have fun when we did that base or that
stronghold.
stronghold.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think we need more of that for me to like really get into it. But the thing is, I don't want to get too into it to where I'm like logging on every day and going to certain servers so like to get the Shaco or whatever the fuck and and uh
and Jet, yeah,
and Jet be
Diablo
doing and
too.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Diablo 2. So I don't know if I want to do that or whatever, but I am definitely invested in the story. I just wish the story would pick up a little bit more, or I wish I can do missions like which you can. Don't get me wrong, you can do that. It's just yeah, I'm like super invested in the story and stuff like that. There are certain parts of the story where everything slows down. Um, but yeah, I really want to find out, Lilith's motivations and everything like that since I caught myself up in the lore and everything of the game. Um, yeah, because Diablo's a very interesting world.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
a super interesting world. It's kind of different from like a lot of these other good versus evil games.
yeah,
The way
right.
the way they've written it and everything. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I like the game. But I do tell people like, and I do see people playing the game that I normally wouldn't think will play Diablo, and they're enjoying the fuck out of the game. And
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe because I've already went through that looter shooter grind.
Mm,
A lot of these people are coming from Destiny,
yep.
um, and that's fulfilling their itch and everything like that. Uh, for
Yep.
them, and I feel like I've been so removed from Destiny and Destiny 2. Uh, it's just like I don't know if I can get all the way into into this again. But it's definitely not a bad game per se. I'm enjoying the combat. I love the story. I love the world. Um, like I said, it's just one of those games though I can't play like how we did in Monster Hunter. I can't do this game like I did in Monster Hunter. Like I can play Monster Hunter
Mm,
for about for like 5 or 6 hours and then go to bed. I can only play this for about maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then I'm like, all right, I kind of want to play something else now.
yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, so this game's been interesting for me. I beat it yesterday, the main story,
Okay.
and um, it's not as long as I was expecting. People were saying like 35 hours or something to beat the main story. I don't think that's true at all. I early on my first session with the game, which was pretty lengthy, I'd say 5 hours probably. Um, I was very distracted. I did not mainline the story. I was kind of running around doing side stuff, and then after that, I kind of started pushing the story a lot. After that, basically like just rushing through the story, essentially not rushing, but like that was my focus was doing the story. And this game, I finished it in probably 25 hours, I think, I'd say, all told. And I this game's got some weird design elements that I don't feel like work that well. Um so let me start with the story, I guess, without spoiling anything. This story is better than Diablo 3's, I think, by I'd say a fairly decent margin. But it isn't incredible. It's Diablo. It's a Diablo story. It's very similar to all the other ones from the other three games. It's the way it ends was pretty predictable for me, especially based on what I know of the lore and everything like that. It's not bad, but it also didn't really do a ton for me at the end. At the end of the game, I was kind of like, okay, cool. It is what it is. So I think the weirdest thing at the game is the open world. For me, I don't find it very appealing, I guess, for this style of game. I know what they were going for, and it just it's not working for me right now. This like pseudo open world like MMO-ish style that they kind of
Yeah,
inserted this
yeah.
game into is it's like caught between two different types of games, and I don't think it fits either one of them very well. Ultimately, like the world is not a good ARPG world necessarily, and it's not a good MMO world either.
Mhm.
Because I have found no desire whatsoever to explore anything. I don't care about anything, like any of the side content in this game. The side content of this game is frankly subpar, like to a disappointing level. The side quests in this game are one note and rote to a point of boredom, like tedium. There are so goddamn many side quests. There's like fucking 200 of them. And I I don't want to do them. Like they're fucking boring as hell. They're not interesting. I don't think there's not you're not getting good lore out of most of them. Like there have been a couple standouts, I guess I'd say, but those have tended to be quest chains where there's like multiple quests within a chain of side quests. The ones that are singular, where it's literally just one quest and you're done, are really boring. They usually are like, go to this location, kill this enemy, and come back to me. Like that's the quest. It's like, or it's like an MMO quest basically. Like,
Yeah.
hey, go get 25 wolf pelts for me and come back. And that's the quest. Like that's the side quest. It's like super MMO ish. Like, and it's not they're bad. They're not even good MMO quests. Like they're bad. They're just bad. It's like two lines of dialogue. Go kill the guys. Come back. One line of dialogue. Okay, here's your EXP and your gold and your little cache of herbs. It's like okay, have fun. And I think the other problem I'm having is this game. I almost feel like punishes you for exploring too early. because that's kind of what I did early in the game, and I think Jet's gonna find the same problem because he said he was exploring like crazy, like didn't even touch the main story. Is you will if you're running around like exploring the map and doing dungeons as you run into them, you're going to find that you're gonna get side quests later that are gonna send you into those dungeons. So you're gonna end up having to do them twice in order to do the side quests. But the second time you do it, you're not getting the like the full rewards. It's not efficient. There's no point in doing it twice, you know. So it's that was a once I realized that, I just stopped doing anything. I just ran through the story so I could unlock everything, and I'm gonna now piecemeal kind of do it all across the entirety of the map, basically, from area to area. And I don't know. It's weird, man. Like because I find myself comparing this game to Grim Dawn a lot, and in my head, and I'm sorry, like Grim Dawn's world is kind of handcrafted. Like every piece of that game world is handcrafted, and I think that's the case here as well with Diablo 4. Like I think this entire world, like I don't think any of it was procedurally generated. It's not randomized. Like everybody's in the same world, you know, and they have the same landscapes and everything like that. But I I find Grim Dawns to be way better, like in terms of what it is. Like I think it's way better. Like the layout of it makes so much sense with the way the map actually looks, you know. And I feel like when I go to a location, I'm in that location, you know, like it feels immersive in that way. Whereas Diablo 4, I just feel like I'm in a fucking place, you know. If I'm out in the woods, like outside of Kovashot or wherever the fuck, you know, Yelesna or wherever, like I don't particularly feel like it's that interconnected. It doesn't feel like a world, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like it doesn't feel like a real world, you know? It feels like a very particular, it feels like sculpted like a game world would be sculpted, and that's not good. Like I don't like that feeling, you know. I don't know. This might just be me. I might just be being weird about this, but I don't know. How do you feel? Do you like am I hitting something with you for you with that?
Uh, that's a good question. The game world. So I'm not too familiar with like I said, the last ARPG I played heavily was Diablo 3, but that was like years ago. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't really have a good frame of reference. Uh, I do feel moments of like this world is scary. Like I
Okay.
would this is a terrible world to live in type
Yeah.
deal. I do
Absolutely.
feel those moments from time to time, almost akin to when I was playing like when I first played Diablo 1. Like I think anyone expecting to get that feeling from Diablo 1, you're not gonna get it because that was like a genuinely that was the first game of its kind, or not the first game of its kind,
There's
but
some
it,
of that in this game though.
yeah,
Definitely.
there definitely is.
Some of the
But I was
story dungeons for
terrified.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was terrified to play like Diablo 1. That's because I was probably little too when I played Diablo 1. Um uh but I do feel like sometime
I'm talking more though. I'm not talking atmosphere. I'm talking the literal actual just
like the
walking around.
actual walking
Like
around.
what it feels like to walk around in this world. Like I don't find it fun personally. I think it's a lot of the space feels pointless. Like I don't think you need I don't think the map needs to be nearly as big as it fucking is, you know, in
Yeah,
this
I
game.
will say that
Like
it is a pain, and it's
yeah.
not. It's because of the mobs. Like the mobs just come out of nowhere, and I'm like, all right,
Well, you get a
I
mount
guess,
eventually too, which shortens the distance. But the fact that they felt the need to put a mount in an ARPG kind of tells me that the game world's too big. You know,
yeah. And
that's fucking weird, dude. That's
they
weird.
filled it up with mounts or with a lot of mobs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But then you have the random events that happen or the
yeah,
like the
yeah,
public events that happen, and
yep.
I don't know, like I try to do those, and it's just not enough for at least for at my level. I feel like everyone's so far past me now that no one does the public events. Like I barely find people doing public
There's no
events
point in
anymore.
doing them at your
There's
level.
no point. So I don't know, like the world does kind of feel useless. I am just going point to point right now because I'm trying to traverse the story. Um
Yep.
and I found out that you can like put a waypoint in the map, and then a trail would show up on your map, and you can like follow that trail. But you can turn that off if you just want to do exploration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like the dungeons, but I don't know. The outer world seems pretty weird. I'm still on. I don't know if it feels like a video game because it's a video game, or is it because like it's bad level design. I'm still 50-50 on it right now. I just
Well,
get annoyed with like
you'll
so many fucking mobs coming at me when
yeah.
I'm trying to like
I'll
do
be
shit.
curious how you feel when you get through all of the acts and you're done with the game, because
Mhm.
they send you all over the continent that you're on, and the map to me, like when it's going to be fully revealed, is just going to look like a spider web, you know? Like it's not even like a really bad spider web too. Like not, it's just a bunch of random fucking paths all connecting to each other, and there's like a circle here and a like a bunch of little circles here to represent like trees and weird things, and it just doesn't look natural, and like I don't know. I'm not like super into it. I think that the because I'm thinking of PoE as well, which I've played recently. You know, like how immersive is that? That game's areas are a lot more ARPG ish in the sense that they're very square, and they feel kind of randomized, even though they're not. They feel more like that Diablo 2 feel. But those, I think the difference for me here is in a game like PoE, right? When you go from one area to another, like you're going between spaces, there's a loading screen, and it's a very like the setting completely changes when you do that generally in that game. So like the atmosphere and the enemies you're fighting all change, whereas I feel like in this game those transitions are not happening through a loading screen, and they're just happening in an area, and it just feels like a kind of like somebody just like bleh, like on the map, like here's a desert next to a fucking jungle, next to a fucking snowy mountain, next to a fucking forest, next to an open plains. It's like it's just like bleh, like it doesn't feel natural, like it those things don't feel natural, whereas in like PoE those kind of that delineation of a loading screen makes it feel more natural, because when you transition from a desert to a jungle, like they're not connected in any way, like
Yeah,
so they're different, they're totally separate areas, the enemies are completely different, you are in a different setting, you feel that, whereas with this game I don't feel that as much. And I know that sounds weird, this is an ARPG, is that important? Ultimately probably not, but when I'm playing through the story it kind of is important, and it just was jarring at times, I guess. Especially, this is my other problem, the way they designed your first run through the campaign. I don't know why Blizzard in particular fucking likes to do this, and a lot of other companies emulate them, and I hate this shit where they make the first like campaign run through so separated from what the rest of the game is going to end up being. Like, dude, nothing you do in the campaign is fucking like valuable at all. Like, doing the events is pointless. There's no reason to do any side quests or dungeons until later. Like, I don't feel the need to do any of that stuff. Dude, I got to level 45 by the end of the campaign, and I need to get to 50 to unlock the next world difficulty. And that is where I am now doing a lot of the side content. I'm doing these side activities, and I just like, it's so frustrating to me that they kind of did this again, where it feels like your first run through the campaign is like not like it's separate from the end game, and like you're
oh,
not like building your way there. It's more like
yeah.
it's like a delineation, and I don't know why they keep doing that shit, because it makes me feel like my time's not valuable. Like I'm not getting everything I can out of leveling,
Well,
and that's
that
frustrating.
that's the whole point. I think that's my frustration with the game.
Yeah.
That kind of like nobody mentions with the game. Unfortunately, I think this game is so designed for end game that it suffers throughout the game,
Yeah.
through the middle
Right.
game and the early game. Um, I really don't. I know we talked about it, and you guys made your point where like, oh, they made it where you want to be able to go back to these dungeons and everything of that nature. And I just think like that's such bullshit. I do not like the scaling. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
literally
I agree.
like makes my balls itch. That
Like, you're talking about how everywhere scales, right?
yes, everywhere
Yeah,
scales.
yeah, right.
I
There's no low level areas, like, later in the game. Yeah,
Exactly. I don't fucking like that shit. That
yeah,
shit really fucking irritates me, especially because, like you said earlier, they designed this game almost like a pseudo MMO. So, like, I will i- in my case, I think in this game, and this is going to be like a pretty hot take. I think they should have went the Xenoblade Chronicles X route, where they gate you off from certain parts of the story until you reach that story
yeah,
that level,
yeah,
or they make it so hard. They make each level so hard. So like. If I am level 15 and the story's level 20, they're like the recommended level 20, and I go in it, I get absolutely fucking destroyed until I am level 20.
right,
Um, and that would have incentivized me to go and search and explore the world and the dungeons
right,
and everything of that
right.
nature. And if you wanted to have like a late game types of scenario, I can go to those late game dungeons and they can be like hard mode or extreme mode or something of that nature, to where
Yeah.
I can come back to those dungeons and play them again, or have a
Yeah.
reason to come back and play them again. I really don't like the scaling shit, and I don't know if that's an ARPG thing, but
Um,
I
it is, but
it
the
is,
thing is,
yeah.
like, Grim Dawn, I'm thinking of Grim Dawn in particular. That game scales up to a point. There are caps on how high an area will go. So if you're level 100 and you go to the first area in the game on the lowest difficulty, the enemies will be like level 40. Like, they scale to a point. Like, there's a cap.
Okay,
There's like a level range, and they hit that cap. So a lot of areas in the game will scale all the way to the top level, obviously, because they're like high level areas. But and then the final difficulty in the game, everything scales, and that's the point, right? If that's like literally the purpose of that difficulty, is that everything
yeah,
scales and the whole game is the same difficulty level. Whereas, yeah, this is more, because I agree with you. That's another reason I felt no need to do the side quests, because the side quests scale with you. So, like, as well, and the experience and money they give you also scales. So it's not, there's literally no point in doing any of this stuff as you're going. Same with the dungeons, like, all of it scales. So I felt no need to do any of it, because I'm like, I just need to do the story, because funny enough, the story is actually the one thing that doesn't scale. It's fucking weird. It makes no sense. Like, you'll do certain story missions, like I did some of them over leveled, and the enemies were lower level than me by a decent amount, like a few levels, and I was kind of just wrecking shit, and I was getting equipment that was completely useless for me. I was getting level like 20 equipment when I was level 30, and I'm like, what
yeah,
the fuck is going on, dude? And because Elias mentioned that, and like, once I figured that out, I'm like, oh, fuck this, like, I should just mainline the story. Then there's like, I'm gonna ruin this game, like the challenge of this game, by not mainlining it. Because I finished Act One at level 30, and there's 6 acts in the game. I did the rest of the acts, and I got to level 43, I think, or 44 by the end of the final quest. And I was never under leveled that entire time from that moment of level 30. Like, I was under leveled very slightly for the end, which was about level 45. I was doing it at level 43, 42, but I wasn't having issues with it, so it was fine. um yeah, and I think that's the other thing about this game that I'm noticing, is the way progression goes. Is I feel like early game, levels 1 through 20, pretty easy, but then there's like a weird period from level like 20 to 35 where the game, I don't want to say gets hard, but I feel like your character's really weak, in that period of time. Like, I
hmm
don't feel like I was killing things very fast. I wasn't there was like it was really slow going. That period of the game sucked ass. And then when I hit like 35 to 40ish, and where I am now in the 45 region, like, I feel really I'm starting to feel really powerful now, where I'm like blowing up groups of enemies pretty fast at times. And it is interesting. I guess that feeling is interesting, to say the least. Like, it's the scaling of the stats and everything is weird. The way that works, I don't know what level you are. Are you like 25 or so?
I think I'm 25, 24, 25, or actually, you know what? I think I'm like 26, 27. Actually, I gotta check.
Okay, so you feeling that
Um,
same thing that I was saying in that area that you're in, that range?
yeah, I sometimes I think I'm under leveled,
Yep.
and like the
You're
enemies are the
not,
same
though.
level as me.
You're
Yeah.
not. Right.
So I don't know. And it's like, and I know like we're bashing the game and everything, but it's like it's not a bad game. It's just I don't like the design choices they took with it.
I just
Um,
expected a little bit more from Blizzard, I think, which
yeah, it's
maybe I
very,
shouldn't have,
but that's the
knowing them.
problem, right?
Yeah,
It's not that I didn't expect anything. I just went off
yeah,
like I didn't even read the reviews. I went off the scores, and this game got a 10, and I'm only like one third of the way through the game. And I'm like, this is not a fucking 10. Like the scaling shit
right,
was like
yeah.
really a big turnoff for me, and I can't see how maybe the reviewers wrote about it and some of the like the eights and nines it got. But I think the scaling is like a huge turnoff for me in this game. Like that's one
Yeah.
thing that actually demotivates me from playing the game. So I feel like, oh, no matter how powerful I get, the enemy's just gonna fucking scale with me, and it doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not gonna feel that. Like I don't know.
that
It's so
that's
stupid.
dude, this is an issue in ARPGs. A lot of ARPGs get this wrong. I feel like because most of them scale, like that's just the way these games are. But you feeling more powerful though as you level is an important component of an ARPG, and I think
Yeah,
they got the balance off in Diablo 4 because it's taking me 45 levels to feel powerful, and I think that's too long. Ultimately, like honestly, like it like you should honestly be pretty powerful early in the game, especially if you're like running around with legendary equipment on and shit that synergizes with your build. Like you should kind of be wrecking shit. And then eventually you're gonna hit like a wall. That's like what should happen. You should hit a wall where you're like kind of starting to get weaker again and you need to get better gear,
yeah,
and really start optimizing your character. That's kind of the curve of these games. And again, I'm mentioning Grim Dawn a lot, but the reason I mention that game is because I feel like it does all of this stuff that we're talking about really well. Like the scaling in that game, like you feel like you are getting more powerful as you level in Grim Dawn. And it is like kind of a linear, it's not linear, but it's kind of linear for a while. And then it kind of gets exponential at a point, where you become this fucking like god, where you're just annihilating shit, right?
yeah,
Um, and but that game, like the game feels so rewarding as the way they did it, because like you always feel like you're getting more powerful. Like you never like there are walls you're gonna hit where the content gets more difficult. Maybe you're taking more damage and shit, and you kind of need to adjust your build a little bit. Maybe change some items out and stuff like that. But you don't feel weak necessarily. It's just that there's like kind of a hole in your build that might be getting like exploited finally. You finally hit that point where it's getting exploited. You know,
yeah,
but I always felt like I always feel like when I play Grim Dawn, I'm getting more powerful as I level. And I think Diablo is taking too long to get there for me. Cause like I said, I'm just now starting to feel powerful. Like after the campaign is over. That's fucking crazy.
yeah.
Because the boss fights in this game are nuts. Like they're like 10-minute boss fights, dude, like for
Yeah, they
most of the
are.
game. And I'm like, that's cool and all. That's nice, but I never felt like I was getting stronger in any of those fights. There came a point at the very end of the campaign where I was starting to really slap things like in certain instances, some of the bosses, but it took a while to get there. And every boss fight felt like it took 10 minutes. And if you fucking died in like the last phase, because these fights tend to ratchet up as you go through the phases. Like so at the end it's like shit's crazy. There's tons of shit going on. There's all sorts of shit on the ground. Like the fights are challenging. Like that is definitely a strong point of this game. But it really
Yeah, I
sucks
was gonna
though to
piggyback
spend,
off that. Yeah,
dude.
like
It,
the
it
boss
sucks to
fights are
spend 10
really
minutes
fucking
and die
good.
at the end though.
Yeah, it does.
So
It
yeah.
does.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you're right. The boss fights are like really good. I do. That's the part when I'm enjoying the game. I'm feeling like I
Yeah.
have an actual challenge. Uh, like even though the game scales and there is a certain challenge there with me for my build, um, when I'm having the boss fights, it just feels really fun, and I have to figure out my way out past this boss or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, my thing is I did not want another Destiny, and I got another Destiny. In my opinion, I know a lot
Yeah.
of people may disagree with that,
This
but I
game's a
got
looter
another.
shooter.
Yeah, I got another Destiny. I got to get the best items. Like it doesn't matter what I do during the campaign. I got to wait for the end game to get the best items and really tune my build up and everything like that. And that's what I did not want. I really wanted a solid experience,
All the
like
way through. Right.
all the way through. And I just unfortunately I'm not getting that. And
And that's dude, that's why I always sing the praises of Grim Dawn, because they made the game about the journey and not the end, right? The
yeah,
game's focus isn't about end game. There are end game activities to do, but they wanted to make sure the game was fun throughout, and they did that. Leveling in Grim Dawn is like the best ARPG experience I've ever had. It's
yeah.
so fucking fun.
Yeah, and um, I guess this is where we're like, to Jet and Brad's point, like this is where like the EverQuest side of stuff comes in, where it's like it is about the journey. And I would like to just have more stuff to where I have to team up with people. I remember like early Burning Crusade of WoW and stuff like that. Certain quests I had to team up with people to do
Yeah,
those quests because you couldn't beat that boss or that enemy by yourself at all.
right.
And I understand, like, yes, I love, Final Fantasy 14 in the way it's designed and everything of that nature. But I kind of have that mindset when I go into Final Fantasy 14 that I'm going in for like a solo but multiplayer experience. With these games, with Blizzard games, they took that mantra as well as for Final Fantasy 14 and like the Blizzard, or not the Blizzard, but the Bungie route as far as Destiny, where it's like you
Mhm.
don't really necessarily need another person. Like with Bungie, they forced you to do the strikes. You needed two other people
Yeah,
there. You
yeah.
need the raids. You need five other people there to do a raid with you. Um, but I would like that journey throughout the game. And I would like if I had to be a fight the in the boss or whatever. I don't even care if you have to put matchmaking right there. Like, oh, you're about to go into a boss cave. Do you want to go in solo or do you want to matchmake with other people? I try it solo. I get fucking ass blasted. All right, maybe I do need to team up with some people. Type in
Yeah,
chat like, hey, looking for a group.
yeah.
I just want the social element there, and it's just not fucking there. And I understand
No, it's there in a
too.
weird way, right? Because people are
Yeah,
just running around the open world, but there's no point to them
exactly.
running around the open world. Like the interaction there, like barely exists. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And someone tried to add me to the party that I didn't know, and I was just like, "Nah, I'm good" or whatever. Uh, but it was like we were just doing like some random ass rogue mission that we had to do. So it's just I don't. And to my dismay, maybe I'm reading the game wrong. This is an ARPG and not MMO, so maybe I'm reading the game wrong. But the game is presenting itself to me like an MMO. It's structured like an
oh,
MMO, in
it's
my
gonna get
opinion.
worse when you beat the campaign, dude. Yeah, no, like yeah. So when you finish the campaign, this is what the game does. It turns into a here's a bunch of random tasks to to do on the map that happen, and they're timed. They last like 30 minutes or an hour, and you get these like grim favors or whatever that you need to get 10 of them, and you turn them in for an item cache basically. You can do that over and over and over again. It's just like almost like your daily missions type thing. Actually, there are daily missions on the map. I just noticed that in my last session today. There's like daily stuff on the map that spawns as well that you can do like once a day, and it will give you some kind of cache or something that might have a legendary in it and stuff like that. It's like it feels really looter shootery to me right now. And getting to the next difficulty, you have to get to level 50, and then you do a capstone dungeon, and then you go into the next difficulty. Or world tier is what they call it. And then I think you just do the same thing there. You get to level 70, and then you do a capstone dungeon, and then you go to the final world tier, which is supposedly the hardest. So I'm finding, because this is the other part. We were gonna play this game together, right? Like our whole group. And it's funny because it's an online game, always online game, where I feel like grouping is pointless
Yeah,
until you beat the campaign, because it's
yeah,
another
exactly.
situation like it's actually like Final Fantasy 14 in the same way. That's a huge negative of that game, where grouping during the story doesn't seem to work that well. Like me and Jet did it once, and there were certain aspects to it that were awkward. Like if he needed to talk to an NPC to start the quest, in order for me to hear that conversation, I had to also talk to the NPC. And like it wouldn't just auto happen, like it wouldn't happen for both of us automatically. But then certain cutscenes would play for both of us when they weren't triggered by talking to an NPC, if it was just something that triggered in the story. So but that's the thing. You don't need to do any of this with anybody. Like it just scales based on how many players there are. So like there's not a huge point to doing the campaign with somebody else, you know? Like I'm not sure, I almost want to test this with you. If you host a game and you invite me and I come into your thing, I'm level 46 I think now. Will I just obliterate shit? Like is everything going to be scaled to your level or my level, you know? Because if it's
Yeah.
scaled to my level, then we can't even group together because I'm like 20 levels difference from you, you know?
Or
um
they may keep it the same, but like I may scale, like
Up,
hitting stats may
yeah, right.
scale. up, you
Yeah,
know.
they might scale you up or something. Um, so I don't know. We need to test that out, but I didn't. That's why I started blasting through the story because I didn't feel a need to group for it. I think the grouping comes after that when you're doing a lot of the kind of more repeatable content the game has. But one last thing too, the one last like con, I guess, bad thing with the game is the always online element. I think is not working very well here. I find it frustrating. I've had two instances now where I mentioned this to you guys. The first one was I was doing a stronghold, the one we did the other day, and I did all of it myself except for the final boss, where I got the final boss to like 2% health and died.
Mhm.
And it kept respawning me inside the stronghold with it all completed except for the boss, so I could go fight the boss again. But I was at a point where I wanted to go level up real quick and get a new ability that I felt like could help me against the boss. So I went and did that, and I came back, and the whole thing reset. I had to redo the entire stronghold, and I'm like, dude, like if this was a single player game, that wouldn't have happened, you know. And it's like this always online pseudo MMO bullshit. They have this weird like aggro mechanic and shit, and like where enemies like leash and stuff, and I'm like, what is this, man? Like, this is a fucking ARPG. Like, what are we doing here? Like, why are you resetting things in my game world when I am playing by myself? I'm not with anybody. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why is this like some weird live session where and it mobs like de-aggro and reset their health resets and shit? And it's like what the, I don't know. That shit pissed me off. And then I had a second situation yesterday where I was doing I think it was a dungeon. I think it was a story dungeon. Yeah, yeah. I was doing a story. No, it wasn't a dungeon. It was a story mission rather. I was doing a story mission in the game, and I did like I don't know 80% of it. And I had to go AFK because I was getting AC maintenance, and I needed to let the guy in and whatever. I was downstairs. I wasn't playing the game. So I was gone for over 30 minutes and the game disconnected me for being AFK. It's an online game, right? So I come back and I see that I'm disconnected. I'm like, oh, whatever. It'll just respawn me where I was in the story mission. No, it reset the entire story mission. And I had to redo the entire thing. It was like 30 minutes of gameplay that I literally lost that I had to redo. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I was like, what is this shit? Like, what is that? Like that's fucking stupid as hell. Also, why is the game disconnecting me for being AFK? Like, what is that? Like, why is that even a thing? PoE doesn't do that shit, and that's an always online game. Like, what are we doing here? Like this is an
Yeah.
ARPG. Like, I don't know, like that. It's just like taking that idea of always online and inserting it where it doesn't need to be. Like, I don't mind that I'm always online, but goddamn, dude, like I should still feel like I'm playing a game that's like my own session,
Yeah.
that I'm not connected, that I don't necessarily have to rely on your servers in order to play this game, and that is really frustrating because, I think PoE has this a little bit more figured out because I didn't have those experiences with that game. Whereas Diablo's got some little kinks that it needs to work out because that was really both of those situations were super frustrating. Both of them were like 30 minutes of time that I lost. And the stronghold, I just said, fuck this. I'm gonna go do something else because fuck that. I'm not wasting my time doing this shit again. But the story mission was really annoying though. That was super frustrating because I'm like, what? So that area is like instanced or something. Like the game can't remember where I was. Like, come on, man. So in terms of good things though, I do want to talk about the good parts of the game. I guess is the gameplay does feel great. The moment to moment controlling your character, fighting, the combat feels really solid. There is a little bit of weirdness with pathing. I do think sometimes in certain areas where my character, I feel like it's stuck a decent amount. That's actually happened a lot to me as a rogue because I can teleport to areas like behind an enemy sometimes, and it kind of teleports me into a wall maybe or some kind of obstacle, and I get stuck and like literally can't move. I think that actually happened to you in the stronghold, didn't it? Once.
That happened to Andy. He got stuck.
Oh, it was Andy. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a little weird, but other than that though, like the game does feel good. Like you said, the boss fights are great for the most part. I do enjoy those a lot. I think those will be really fun in a group context, probably a little bit more. But um, the itemization is another thing. I think it's better than D3 so far, but I am underwhelmed with it, I guess, so far. Because most items are very similar. They literally all drop with three stats on them, randomized, and then there is a fourth stat that certain items have that is kind of like always on the item, but there's like a few stats it can be, so that part's randomized, and then that's it. Like legendaries are that plus like a aspect basically that they have on them. So I'd say so far the itemization is not super great. I find it a little boring right now. I'm hoping that changes with higher level gear. Um, but again, that's another example of them like, if that's the case, leaving the good stuff until too late. I think a lot of people might fall off before they even get there. But it's fine. It's not as bad as Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was not the itemization in Diablo 3 was terrible. Like it was so bad. So it's not that, certainly. Um I'm trying to think of other stuff. I already mentioned side content, I guess exploration, like the statues of Lilith, those, have you found a few of those so far?
Maybe only one or two
Yeah.
actually.
Right. Do you feel any like desire to go find those? Because I don't.
No, I don't either.
I'm gonna go look at a map guide at some point that tells me where they all are, and I'm just gonna go through and do them one day. Because yeah, they're not fun to find. I don't feel particularly rewarded when I find them, even though they give you permanent stat upgrades for all your characters. It's giving you like 2 strength, which even now is like whatever, dude. Like that's nothing. It's like not a lot. So it doesn't feel particularly great. Those don't feel particularly great in that guard. I don't know. I feel like I'm shitting on this game a lot. Like I don't hate it. I do enjoy it. I'm having fun playing it. I am at the point though that I've been thinking about like how much further am I really going to go with this game by myself, because I think I'm in the situation where I think I'm mostly going to wait for you guys probably um at this point to kind of do side content with you guys, because I'm not finding I don't have a particular drive to keep going and make my character super powerful, um at least that's how I'm feeling right now. So what about you? I mean, do you have that? Do you feel that? Do you feel that like desire to get more powerful in this game? Is it that bug hitting you or not really?
No, only reason I don't feel that bug because like the scaling issue, I just really don't like that at all. And I know it probably depends on my items and stuff like that. Just I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I would just like for once to feel, powerful and stuff like that. But everything scales with you, so it really makes my entire journey pointless until maybe after I beat the campaign. But I don't know. I just gotta get motivation to jump on.
Yeah.
I almost like low key feel like I wasted my money on the game because that scaling is just really bad for me. It's
Yeah.
just I don't know.
That
It's
sucks,
not
man.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down to play with you if you level up some more, or if you want help, getting dragged through the campaign, I can help you there too. But but I mean, I'm kind of with you though. If you're not feeling it, like, don't even, I don't know, like, don't
Yeah,
bother, I
I
guess.
didn't sign up for a solo experience, and that's what I'm getting. Like I
Yeah.
didn't sign up for that. I signed up for like, us taking out epic bosses. And then another thing too was like only 4 people to a party. So it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's
Yeah.
just I was expecting like a lot and I'm not
Yeah.
getting that. like,
I think Jet's gonna be very upset because, yeah, I have a feeling. I think I don't know how much people are gonna be into this game when he gets back. By the time he gets back, like, I feel like a lot of people will have already dropped it. Like Andy hasn't played at all since like this past weekend. And Elias is still playing, but it seems to be lessening already for him too. So and Brad's not like super interested at all. So he's fine. He's picking whatever reason he can to not play it pretty much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like I don't want to put a lot of time into this game because I am now in a situation where I'm like having that kind of moment you had a few weeks ago where I'm like, I gotta stop playing multiplayer games and start
Yeah.
getting through single player shit, because we're gonna talk about here in the news tons of games getting announced for the back half of this year, dude. And I'm fucking like, I'm starting to stare at the list, and dude, it is just, there's so many games I want to play. And if I'm gonna actually play them, I need to stop playing these multiplayer games because they just suck up so much of my time. Like, I need to actually start focusing on playing some single player shit. Like, I've been
Yeah.
playing Italia Riser for 2 months and Metroid for 2 months. Like, I need to beat these fucking games, and
Yeah.
move on to other stuff. And there's games on the pile over there that I need to play. But then we got Final Fantasy next week. I still got to play, Star Wars. As much as you didn't like it, I think I may like it a little bit more than you did. And I need to play that game. And then there's a bunch of shit coming out in the summer, and particularly when we hit September. Like, I'm gonna go through the list like later in the episode, but dude, there's a ton of games coming. So, given that, I don't know how much more time I really want to put into Diablo 4. And now that I beat it, like, I beat the game. Like, what more is there to do except grind? It's like, okay, I mean, like, if I'm gonna play this game, it's like I'm sitting here talking about Grim Dawn, and it's like better. It's like, dude, if I'm gonna put time into an ARPG though, like, why don't I just go back to Grim Dawn or like Path of Exile? Like, I found no, like, honestly, I found Path of Exile way more exciting to play and level in than Diablo 4. Like, I will be frank about that. Like, I think Blizzard doesn't. I just feel like Blizzard doesn't understand like what made their old games fun. Like, they just don't. I just don't think they get that anymore. Like, they just seem to have lost their
I
magic.
I would say I don't think it's that. I think um I'm not taking their side or anything, but I think they're just designed their games for a newer audience, and that audience isn't us anymore. I think the
Yeah,
newer
that's
audience,
fair. Yeah, it's the Destiny audience. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
like
that's fair.
they want to, they want to get to in game as fast as possible, and then just grind for in game gear and stuff. Whereas with like me and you and stuff like that, it's like in older gamers. That's why that Pantheon expansion or that Pantheon games coming out and everything, because people want not only to go to in game, but we want to feel like we're playing a game while getting there, and we want to
Yeah,
socialize with each other and everything of that nature.
right.
And these games just aren't designed for that. Um, I guess you can blame it on toxicity is one part of it, but it's also game design is another part of it. I know a lot of people don't like to socialize because of the toxic nature of online games. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. It's just weird now how games are literally designed now for you to not talk to anybody. Like, and
Yeah,
that's all to prevent someone else from being toxic towards you.
yeah.
And I
Well,
just
dude,
think
like,
it,
Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, like, they're perfect examples of what you're talking about. Like Genshin Impact is literally an MMO that is single player only. Well, no, for the most part. Like, it is designed for you to play it totally by yourself all the time. Like, there's
yeah,
co-op in there, but it's super limited and purposeless for the most part. Like, you don't need to do it unless you really want to. And Honkai Star Rail is the same way. There is no co-op in Honkai Star Rail at all. It is a purely single player game, but it's a live service game. Like, so it's, yeah, man. Like, companies are seeing this, and they're starting to. I think a lot of them are starting to take advantage of it. Because, yeah, Destiny. I mean, even back as far as like the Division, right? The Division was designed so you could play it in a group, but you could also play it totally solo. And both Division games were like that. So, yeah, you're right. I think you're right, and I think Diablo 4 is that same design philosophy. And I think me as a gamer, I think I've moved on. I kind of moved on from those kind of games a little bit. And if I'm gonna play, and I think I'm a little bit, I think I'm a little bit more hardcore with ARPGs than I thought. I thought I would like Diablo 4 a little bit more because it was hedging between like Diablo 3 and like Path of Exile in terms of the complexity. But I'm also finding myself just sitting here like, man, this game's not complex enough for me. Like,
yeah,
I find it a little bit too straightforward. And it's kind of become boring as a result. Like, I'm bored. Like, I was bored. I'm like bored playing the game. I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm just hitting this fucking button, and it's like, like I know what my rotation is at this point, and I think I've kind of figured out my build at this point, and I may tinker around a little bit more, but I've gotten to the point where I have it pretty on lock, and I'm killing things pretty fast with the build I have, and I don't know, like I'm not seeing much of a need to experiment much more now. And that means that my next 54 levels are probably going to be mostly this. And is it fun enough that I'm like super excited to see what the end game version of it is? Not really. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just I went into it thinking this was going to be a really challenging game, and I was going to need help in certain
I think that's
instances,
the other
and
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't because when I think of ARPGs, like yeah, there are solo experiences for a lot of people, but for me, like I don't know, I just see like I always watch streams or something like that, and like two or three people are playing. It's like a really good co-op experience and everything.
Yeah.
Or even when I was playing like Diablo 3, like we went through an entire campaign with each other, and it was just really fucking fun. But I was also in a different mindset then as well. But now I just want a challenging game. I'm really just tired of like I want a challenging game, but also a casual game, if that makes any sense. And I'm sorry to bring up old games like WoW and Burning Crusade, because that's when I stopped. I stopped playing actually at Wrath of the Lich King. But yeah, like Burning Crusade was just like a chill ass game, but it can be challenging because like I would need to type in chat like, hey, I need help doing this. Is anyone else doing this? People like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'll join my group real quick and we can knock it out or whatever. And even like old
Yeah.
Destiny, um, before like the matchmaking for raids and stuff like that, I had to go on a forum. I had to join the Destiny forums and like get the app and everything and talk to people and be like, hey, like or I had to do it with my clan. And I'm like, hey, like, are we raiding today? Or are we doing this strike? We're doing this like nightmare strike today. And they're like, yeah, we're doing the nightmare strike, or we're doing the weekly, or me and DJ would like team up and do it or whatever, and stuff like that. And it was just a real good social aspect there. But now I think Destiny still has this, but I'm removed from the community. Uh, but this game for me did not have it, and I did not want to go back to the looter shooter thing. And you can say, "Oh, well, Montrell, it's an ARPG," and it's like, no, it's a looter shooter, but ARPG, and that's what I'm feeling like. And when I was playing, I'm like, oh man, like, are the enemies scaling with me too? Oh my god, bro, come on! And I saw it in the beta, and I was like, okay. I was having fun with the beta. But I thought maybe I don't know what I thought. I thought it would be different in the game, and it
Yeah.
wasn't. So yeah, I thought maybe people would complain about that and they can try to adjust it towards that, but like nobody complained about it.
Oh man, people
Um,
are eating this game up, dude.
yeah,
Like,
and that's one other thing I'm surprised about. I always feel super bad, like because I'm tired of being negative all the time. You know,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm tired of being the old man that yell at clouds type gamer. But it's just like I played it, and I people there are people who don't play RPGs, Justin, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, bro, this game is just so much fucking fun." And I'm like,
Yeah.
How are you
Well,
enjoying it?"
see that I
Like,
let them have the fun though. I'm not gonna like take this away from anybody. If you
yeah,
enjoy Diablo
I know,
4, enjoy it.
yeah,
I think those people though, they don't play RPGs. There's your answer, right? So that's why they're finding this game fun because they don't have any other context. Like they haven't played better RPGs. So
yeah. And
and
when I'm saying how, like, teach me how to have the fun that you guys are so seeing,
yeah,
and it's like I don't. But when they tell me why they're having fun, I'm just like, it's just
doesn't work for you.
destiny. Yeah,
Right.
like it's just
Yeah.
destiny, you know? So
Right.
I don't
They
know.
might not have played Destiny, man. They might not have played Destiny.
They
And
know you're right. They might not play. I have to understand too that a lot of people don't play as many games. They don't have as much game knowledge and
as
everything
us,
like that
definitely.
as us.
Yeah.
And like I'm really starting to understand, like, how your grandparents, like, I don't know if your grandparents or maybe your parents did this, but it's almost like a been there type done that feel when you talk about certain stuff, and they're like, Yeah, blah 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 blah, or whatever. They
Yeah.
just have like a
They don't have the enthusiasm that you have.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've been there, I've
That's
done
us.
that. I just
That's
want
us.
something new. Yeah, it's us, and it's
Well,
like
yeah.
it's just I don't know when I'm seeing like all these like new games, and that's why I'm like so excited for like a lot when we're gonna get to next like a lot of these games are coming out because
Yeah.
not only are they like new, but they're just like either they're like trading back on old water and like unique and making it fresh again, or they're making something brand new and everything of
Yeah.
that nature. And it's like I'm really ready for that. Like nobody's business. I really think the age of like this is probably going to be the last popular like looter shooter type thing to come out. Like the next game, I guess you consider Monster Hunter like a looting game, but it's just like it's challenging though. Like those monsters are
Yeah.
like really fuck. You need
Yeah.
sometimes you need other hunters to help you out with those hunts.
Yeah, but
Um,
dude, I found with Rise, playing in multiplayer in Rise made the game too easy, you know?
yeah, that's true.
Um, and yeah, I think Diablo. This game is like similar. Like that's my other issue with Diablo 4 is the game is way too easy so far. Like I'm playing on the veteran like tier 2 difficulty, and I've been doing it the entire way, and I had almost no issues for the most part. There was like a couple bosses that gave me some problems, but I was like sitting on some skill points, so I just put those in, and I ended up taking the care of the boss after that. So it's yeah, and I mean, like, to your point about like we're going to talk about all the game announcements that came out of this past week, and you're going to hear a lot more positivity probably from both of us because I am really excited about a lot of things that were announced, which is why I'm having this like kind of existential crisis about multiplayer games because like, man, if I'm going to play any of these games that I'm excited about, like I gotta I have to make time for them, so that's kind of what's going to happen here. And I just think Diablo 4 ultimately is, it's dude, you can't pretend you're having fun with something either. If you're not enjoying it, you're not enjoying it. Like it doesn't matter what people say, what they try to rationalize, what argument they try to throw at you. It's like like if I don't like the game, I don't like the game. Like you can tell me all sorts of ways why I should like this game, but if I don't like it, I don't like it.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
again, not saying I don't like Diablo 4. I think Montrell is a little bit more cool on it than I am. I'm down to play this game. I'm just not like rapturously enthralled by it, like the way I was hoping I would be. I am like once I finished the campaign, I was kind of like, huh, what now? It's like,
Hmm.
do I even keep playing this game now? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's just how I feel right now. If I play more, I will give you guys more thoughts. But there have been moments, definitely the last couple days playing it, where I'm my character like I'm feeling my character being really powerful and I like blow a fucking elite enemy up or a whole group of elite enemies up like really fast, which had not happened up to that point, by the way. Like, let me just say that's my point about feeling weak, right? Like fighting elite enemies is a fucking like chore. It takes like a minute or two to kill them because that's how little damage your character feels like it does. But I'm starting to kill them really fast now. Like they're actually going down in 20 seconds or less. And I'm killing multiple in that time frame sometimes. So my character's definitely starting to feel more powerful. I'm feeling that it's peeking through a little bit, which is kind of pulling me back in. But but if nobody else plays, like if no one else gets there, like shit, dude, like how much more do I really want to play? It's like
Yeah.
because this to me was intended to be the co-op game for our group, because we've been searching for something since everybody stopped playing League to play together. And honestly, I think my answer is we may just need to take a step back. Maybe we don't need to play shit with each other all the time. And if we want to play something like, dude, maybe we just play something chill like Fall Guys or fucking Fortnite or something, like something relaxing that's not hyper sweaty, and that's it, or something co-op, something else co-op. We find some other game co-op because I know me, you, and Andy were talking about playing Iceborne together, like Monster Hunter. And honestly, right now, I am feeling much
I was just
more
about to say that, like
willing to do
I could
that
do
than
that
play
now.
Diablo, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm much more down for that right now than Diablo. So,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know,
I mean, I don't think Jet's gonna be upset. He has more time to play EverQuest and everything like that, so he has time to.
well, him and Brad have Diablo too. They can just go farm Mephisto or Andy in that game a million times.
Yeah.
Which
So
never seems
I
to get
don't
old
know.
for them. So
But I mean, like I said, if you like these type of games, I think like Diablo, we're coming from a place of experience. So if you're like a younger gamer, I think you would like Diablo. To be honest with you, like 100%, I think you would love it. If
yeah,
you're an older gamer and you never really experienced these games, I think you would like Diablo. Now, if you like the looter shooter grind and you're older or younger gamer, you would like Diablo. But if you're not, if you're one of the rare people that like, I don't want to say rare, if you're one of the like weirdos, because I consider me and Justin weirdos as far as
yeah,
like the games
we
we
are,
like.
we are.
Um, if you just want to feel like certain instances where you're getting powerful and then challenged, then you're getting powerful again, you need other people and everything like that. I don't think Diablo's the game for you at all. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, did you want to move on to the moves or did you want
Yeah,
to?
yeah. Let's we've been going about this for a while, so
Yeah.
we'll have more thoughts if we play some more, but that's kind of where it stands right now. So, all right, we got a lot of news to get through, tons of game announcements this week. I do want to talk about Summer Game Fest real quick,
Yes, I
because I
did
was
see
not
that.
here. So just a few games that I wanted to call out that were standouts from the show for me was obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, just looks like, oh my god, dude, like
Yeah.
fuck,
Oh,
I'm
do you
so
see like the
excited.
open world shit? Like
Yeah,
it's yeah,
yes.
man. It's gonna
I
be fucking
I
crazy.
cannot believe I can't believe what they're doing with this fucking series of games. Like I don't know. Nomura is like he's got me wrapped around his fucking finger, dude, with this. But that's looking great. Star Trek Infinite, I just want to call that out real quick. It is it's a Paradox from Paradox Interactive, who are the guys who make Europa Universalis, Hearts of Iron, those like grand strategy games, and they're doing that with Star Trek, which actually this could be a game that our group might be really into because I know Jed is a Star Trek fucking like fanatic. I think he would love this kind of game with this, with obviously within the Star Trek universe. So that one looks interesting. Pal World, this is the Pokemon with guns game. I just
Yeah.
wanted to call this out. When this trailer came on, I literally bust out laughing. I couldn't believe we were seeing this game again. And the way Jeff introduced it, he literally called it Pokemon with guns, and I was like, dude, I can't believe he said that on stage, like live. But it actually looks kind of good still.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I was just happy to see it resurface. So that one's cool. The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria game. I wanted to mention this one real quick, not because it looks good, but because it looks horrible. I put a question in here, like, what is happening with Lord of the Rings games right now? Like, because Gollum just came out and it looks like it got horrific reviews. It's like one of the worst games in the entire fucking year. And then you've got this game that also looks awful. Like, what are they doing with the license right now? Like, I am like just severely questioning what's going on with these
I
games.
almost want like Warner Brothers to just take it back over again because what the fuck is
Hmm.
going going
Yeah,
on?
dude, I'm not liking what I'm seeing so lately with
Yeah,
with these games. That Amazon MMO is not sounding great to me right now.
yeah.
And then Path of Exile 2, obviously we didn't see very much of it. I just put a question in here though. What is taking so long with this game? Because you mentioned this last week when you brought it up. Like, dude, they may have missed their moment now that Diablo 4 has come out. And while I don't think that's true personally,
I take that back now. I want to retract that statement. Now that I play Diablo 4, I don't think
yeah,
so.
they're going to be
Yeah.
very different games. I
Yeah.
think ultimately, but to the point though, what is taking so long with this game? Why is this was announced a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago now, and they presumably been working on it for a long time. Like, what the hell is taking so long with this game? Because I am now anticipating it in a way I wasn't before Diablo 4 came out, because Diablo 4 is not scratching the itch I have for this genre, and Path of Exile is a lot more up my alley. So I want to see more of this game. Like, I'm hoping we see it soon, like next year sometime. Like, it actually comes out next year. And then the
Yeah.
last one I put down was Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. This game looked insane. Like I like this looks like a awesome potentially co-op game. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Warhammer, and especially not 40K, but this looked really visceral and like awesome shooter. So that could be an
Yeah,
interesting one
I'm
for
surprised
sure.
like a lot of people don't talk about it. I played that was actually my first introduction to Warhammer was Space Marine.
Yeah.
Because it came like right between like Gears of War and all those other games like that. And
Hmm.
yeah, I played it and I was just blown away how good the fucking game was.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised that it took this long to get Space Marine too. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, it looked really good to me. I like you said, I can't believe people aren't talking about it more. Like I'm seeing no chatter about it at all, and I'm like, this game looks insane, dude. Like the fucking shit is nuts. So I don't know, but yeah. Overall, the show was all right. I didn't feel like it was a great show, but I do feel like because a lot of these other shows that we're going to talk about here were attached to Summer Games Fest, so this seems to be taking over E3. E3's place is kind of what it seems
Yes.
like.
Yes. So was the showcase a part of
The Xbox one was. It was
oh it
branded
was?
Summer Game Fest. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it
Yeah,
was.
I think they still have some work to do.
Yeah,
I watched the entire thing live. While they were just showing game after game, I think they should, and it's gonna, I know it's probably gonna rattle some people. I think they should cut like the developer commentary shit. They talk
yeah,
to the developers, and sometimes they're talking to the developers like up to 5 or 10 minutes, or up to five
yeah,
minutes, and I'm like, okay, guys, like, can we just see the fucking game now?
yeah.
Um, and I mean, who knows? Maybe this is the way we do get those Kojimas, like the next generation of Kojimas or Nomuras. But I don't even think we ever talked to Nomura on stage. So like well known people.
Right.
But like I don't know. Yeah, that's my really big criticism. Besides that, um, it's more so not Summer's Game Fest, but the companies themselves. Which Xbox kind of cleared up. Uh, I just want them to show more gameplay. I think a ton of companies, this should be good for y'all bottom line, are wasting money on CGI trailers. We
Hmm.
don't want to see those no more. A lot of people were complaining about. I thought I was just complaining about it. A lot of other people, a lot of younger people were complaining about the CGI trailers. They want to
Yeah,
see gameplay. So
yeah.
that's my biggest thing. Especially the Ubisoft Forward. Oh my fucking god! I got when we get to that story, I got some shit to talk about Ubisoft Forward, man. But yeah, uh,
Yeah.
the game show or the Xbox showcase, I was thoroughly surprised um in it. Like there's
Like
some games I really want to
quality.
play. Yeah, the quality of the games that are coming out and the quality of the game, even though some of these games are multi-platform, some of the like smaller games, like the 2D platforming games or the 2D
Yeah,
like puzzle or games are coming out, like they look really fucking good.
yeah.
And I was just like, holy, like one game that I mean, I don't know if we're gonna go in order, but
I was just gonna go in order. Yeah.
okay, yeah, so yeah.
It's significant enough. I mean, overall, yeah. Though this blew Sony's presentation for May like out of the fucking water, dude. Like honestly, in my opinion, like I think Xbox, as like everything we've been complaining about the last couple of years for them with these showcases, like they delivered. You know,
Yeah.
for the most part. When we'll get into all the games, but they hit, they showed us all the shit we've been waiting for pretty much. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing they showed was fucking Fable, dude, which like I was surprised that they opened with that. And when they were going over it, I was like, when the trailer was playing, I was like, is this Fable? And I was like, damn, this looks really like the fidelity of the graphics looks fucking amazing, dude. Um, but there were little bits of gameplay in here.
Yeah.
It looked like, and I don't have a ton to say necessarily about it based off that gameplay, but um, definitely exciting that we're seeing this game though. The game is real. It isn't in development hell necessarily. Like they're actually showing it, and and yeah, I mean, what did you think, Montreal?
So I caught the last end of it, and it was like her running away from the giant or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh my god, don't turn this into fucking Uncharted, please! Don't turn this into
Yeah,
Uncharted." But then I went back and watched the whole trailer again, and looks like it's definitely going to have that Fable feel to it, which I was hoping they did because Fable was about interacting with the crowd and everything like that. You can fart in public and do dumb shit, and they'll react to it.
yeah,
It's just about that. And I saw her using magic and everything of that nature. So I'm very interested in see what they're going to do with this game. Um, it looks it looks like it's shaping up nice. People were already ragging on like, oh, the fucking character looks ugly and everything. I'm like, she looks like a regular
Wait, what
British
are you
woman.
talking about? The female character? Like
Yeah, they're like, I'm like,
the
she looks
what?
like a regular
Presumably the
woman.
protagonist.
Yeah, I like so in Fable you can like pseudo make your own character. You usually can pick you can't pick like the skin color or anything like that, but you can pick if you want to be a female or a male and you can change your name and everything like that.
What is wrong with
Um
people, man? Like,
yeah.
why
I
is everybody like? Why does every character A have to be beautiful, and B, like, I actually don't think the character's ugly at all, personally.
no,
But
I don't think she's ugly at all either. I think she's just a normal looking person, like,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people were ragging on it. But I said I thought this was gonna be Uncharted, like I said, because I caught the last part. But I watched it and I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be okay. I'm still upset though that there's no release date. Uh, I don't like when they show us stuff and then don't give us a window. Like at least just give us a year, like 2025 or some shit like that. At least I can know, like, okay, I'm not gonna expect this for a couple years or whatever. But yeah, that's my biggest takeaway from it. But I am glad they showed us something because this game will get a lot of, depending on how it looks and everything, this will get a lot of people back over to the Xbox environment. A lot of
Hmm.
people have been waiting on Fable.
No, this game will get me over too. I played Fable 2 back in the day, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I never like got all the way through it. Um, but yeah, I mean, Fable, like a modern AAA Fable, will definitely get me to go back to my Xbox and play.
Yeah,
So this will be an exciting one for sure. All right, moving on from that. The next game they showed was another game, Xbox Game Studios game, South of Midnight. We didn't really get much or any in the way of gameplay here, I think, but definitely a very stylish trailer, I would say.
yeah,
Any thoughts on this one?
it was like a stop motion type trailer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
so, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a third person action game, but I don't know anything else outside of that.
right.
But it looks unique and everything like that. And I don't know. I saw the chat and people were already saying woke because the protagonist is a black female.
So
So it's
tired of this
like
shit. Yeah,
I kind of wish that word never was born at or never
yeah,
was thrown.
yeah.
But I think the game looks good. And unfortunately, the next game we're going to talk about is the same bullshit. But yeah,
Oh
you can go
boy.
ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't so I don't think we need to talk about this one heavily here. We could talk about this in the Ubisoft one because there was actually gameplay shown
Yeah,
on that one. But yeah, it was Star Wars Outlaws, which is Ubisoft's Star Wars game, which we've heard rumors about out of Massive Entertainment, who are
the
the
division
teams that
people.
made the Division games, both of them, Division 1 and Division 2. So this is a very accomplished studio, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to talk about this now and just
Yeah, we
get
can
it out
talk
of the
about it
way,
now.
or
Yeah, we can
okay?
talk about it now.
Yeah. So
Um,
to Montrell's point, there was a lot of online consternation about the female protagonist.
yeah, one
In
person
this.
said, "Does men even exist in Star Wars?" And I got so fucking upset. And they actually reported the tweet. The tweet I had to delete the tweet. I got so
Yeah,
upset
yeah,
because we just had a white straight male protagonist
yeah.
in Star Wars.
Month and a half ago, just
Month and
came
a
out,
half ago.
guys. Like,
Just
like just came out.
so I don't know. I the game looks good. Don't get me wrong. So like everything I'm about to say, like just take it like the way it is. The game looks good. Uh I like the world they constructed or what they shown. I'm glad I'm not playing as a fucking Jedi. I actually love the um the ship to space moment
Mm,
that they just showed.
yeah,
I thought that was really fucking cool. I love that we finally have a game with space combat again.
yeah,
That's going to be cool and everything of that nature. I My thing is it just looks like another standard third person shooter.
yeah,
I was just like there was nothing impressive
yeah,
they showed at all.
yeah.
Like the environment looked great. It looked very Star Warsy, and I
Dude, the
loved it.
environments look excellent. Like,
Yes,
that's the one thing I want to say. It is striking how Star Wars this looks. Like
Yes.
the character's design is excellent too, by the way. She has that like 80s haircut, you know, and
Yeah.
like it just looks like Star Wars, and the environments look really really good. But I was disappointed when they got into the gameplay section in the
Yep.
Ubisoft Forward, and the characters started fighting pretty large groups of enemies. I was kind of hoping this would be more of almost like a pseudo stealth game, where you're not intended to be able to kill everything that you fight, you know, or you run into
Yeah.
necessarily. And I will say, to that point in the gameplay, the character ran away from the combat, didn't fully complete it and like kill all the enemies. So um that may be the case. That may be the way they're designing this game, and I really hope that is the case, because I would love a Star Wars game where you're not powerful, you know.
Yeah.
Where you are truly like struggling to deal with the things you are that are being thrown at you, you know. Because this character is presumably a thief, is her primary kind of role within the society that she's in. And you know, I don't necessarily think that character should be running, gunning, and murdering fucking hordes of Imperial soldiers, you know,
Yeah.
and things like that. So that's kind of my hope. But you know, it's an Ubisoft game. I might be asking for too much.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I actually, like you said, I love the character design. I love the environment. I actually did love the firefights.
Mhm.
Um, but like I said, it just looked like I saw this before. They didn't wow me with it. They just they did a third person
Yeah,
action game with a Star Wars skin over it, and it's like
yeah,
that's what
cover
we
based
wanted.
shooter. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like that's what I wanted like 4 years ago when I first started this podcast. I said that I'm like, just do that, but like now I feel like you have to up the ante or whatever with it.
yeah, yeah,
And this game really just didn't wow me like that. I am still going to like look at it and everything. Another thing is like I am really fucking tired of this era. Please, can we get out of the trilogy era, like the
yeah.
original trilogy era?
Agreed.
Um, I'm actually tired of us being in the whole 9 movies era. Like there are so many other eras we can do. We can do after the sequel or whatever. We can do right before the fucking first movie or something. Like we can do a lot of different shit with Star Wars, and I feel like people are just not willing to do it. I don't know. And someone made a good point. It was like, well, this is the most iconic era of the series, and I feel like yeah, but if you just slap Star Wars on it, people are gonna fucking buy it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's what I did with Couture. Like I just bought Couture, and I was like, oh, this is like 3,000 years before the main events of Star Wars, and I
Right.
loved it. You know, so uh, I don't know. I'm just really. I hope the story has nothing to do with like. I swear to fucking God, Justin. If I get, oh yeah, we're actually doing all this secretly for the rebellion. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit because I don't give a fuck about the rebellion anymore. Like we did the shit already.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
yeah. I mean, like, dude, to your point, right? I think like I'm thinking of Rogue One, right? And the reason I like that movie so much is because that movie is kind of what you're talking about. I know they are doing it for the rebellion, but it's like a
Yeah.
job. They're not aligned with the rebellion, you know?
Exactly.
Like the
Yeah.
characters are literally just mercenaries, you know? And I that's why I like that movie so much, because it's exploring something that they're not fighting for, like fucking they're not trying to like fight the empire in that way of the way the same way the rebels are, you know. It's just like a job for them, and I don't know, that's why I like that movie, and I kind of want to see more of that in these games, or like
Yeah.
you said, like go somewhere else, man. Like there's so much interesting lore in Star Wars you could probably go to towards, you know. It's like we don't need, like, be more creative. This is like where Disney's killing me with Star Wars, is they're so uncreative with it, you know. Like they're so afraid to like do anything outside of the established lore, you know. Because there's been rumors like they're making a you know, Knights of the Old Republic like TV show, but it's like, okay, you're treading ground that somebody already tread, though. It's like do something new, like go somewhere else, go like 1,000 years in the past, or fucking 10,000 years in the past. Like what does that even look like, you know, in this universe? Like it's yours, you own it literally. Like make do something interesting. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I will say at the same time, I do think I feel like this game is treading into that territory. I know it's in that same era still of the
Yeah,
movies or whatever, but I have a feeling like it feels like this isn't going to go into that conflict very much. It's going to tread
yeah.
the outer edges of it,
Yeah,
in the
and you know what?
more yeah,
If that's just the backdrop for it, I'm totally fine with it. I'm
hmm
totally fine with us not dealing like if we have to do jobs for the rebellion and for the empire, but
right,
it doesn't really influence the world, or they're not trying to like, hope is the final way or any of that bullshit. Like we're just trying to get money and
yeah,
the character has their own story that they're trying to tell. Like I would like that. And it looks
yeah,
like they're going in that direction. But we have to,
right.
see,
Being
so
able to well, because there was a point in the trailer where you can choose to bribe an imperial officer or not bribe an imperial officer, and
yeah.
presumably different things will happen depending on what you do there. So, um, that is interesting. So there may be a component where you can sort of align yourself with the empire, maybe in certain instances. And so I would like that a lot more. Right? You're not just inherently a good guy. I think that would be a lot more interesting to explore. So,
Yeah.
but the gameplay did look good though.
Yeah, it did look
Um,
good.
the combat, like I know it does look like Division style third person shooting, I guess, but which big surprise coming from the studio that made the Division, but
Yeah.
it did look scrappier though than the Division in the sense that like the character isn't like doesn't feel like it felt like the aim was a little weird, like it wasn't like perfect, I
Yeah,
guess.
it
Um,
definitely still was in like the beta phase or whatever, you can tell,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but I kind of like that though. Like that it's like you're not like a fucking sharpshooter, you know? You're not
Yeah.
like some fucking like god with a gun, you know? So I kind of dug that a little bit too, but I
Yeah,
guess
I
we'll
just
see
think they
more.
need to improve the gunplay a little bit cuz I'm watching it right now and I think everything else looks solid, but the gunplay just needs to be improved. I really want to feel like this era right here, and when you're playing, every time they show like the scoundrels or the smugglers, it's always like a wild wild west feel, and that's kind of how I
Yeah.
want my gunplay to feel as well. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the fastest gunslinger in the west, but I really want it to feel like that. It just felt really stiff. And I understand like this game's not coming out till next year, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix a lot of this shit or touch it up and make it more polished. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint. But besides that, I think the game looks really fucking good though. I'm
Yeah.
just glad we're
Yeah.
not a fucking Jedi at this point, So
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, and also just for to Massive's credit, their ability to create open worlds, the Division 1 and 2 have amazing open worlds.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm actually excited to see what they can do with that in a universe like Star Wars, or we're going to
Yeah.
talk about later, Avatar, as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Definitely, I'm personally looking forward to it. I want to see more of it for sure, as well. So, all right, moving on. Next game they showed was something called 33 Immortals. This is like a top-down isometric action co-op game. It looks like. I don't have much to say about it, but
No,
did
it
this?
look. I think if you're into like the rogue like games,
Yeah,
this looks really good. For those type of people. I don't know. It looks really good for the. Like I said, I'm not really into that, but I think if you love rogue likes, if you love what the fuck is that name of that game? The really
Hades.
good one, Hades. Yeah, if you like Hades, I think you'll like this. It doesn't have the exact same art style, but it is that same style of game.
Yeah,
So I recommend you guys just check it out and let's see if you like it or not, or check out the trailer and see if you like it because it's nothing but gameplay.
fair enough. All right, next game they showed was Payday 3. It's coming on September 21st. I mean,
Yeah.
what did you think of this one, dude?
Uh, I don't know. Like it's payday, but
Yeah,
three. So
yeah.
I want to see what kind of interesting mechanics look like. Got a lot of new weapons and stuff like that. Uh,
Maybe this is
and
one we try
encourages a
out.
lot more fighting with the cops and everything. I know the
Yeah.
first paydays were like a little bit more methodical. So it looks like they're encouraging you to fight the cops a little bit more in these games. And it also looks like you can actually be the cops this time. I don't know if that was the case in Payday 2.
Yeah.
You can be the cops. But yeah, I don't know, it looks fun, but I don't think I'm going to pick it up, but it does look fun. Um I like these objective based like multiplayer games where it's just not
Well,
a team deathmatch type
yeah.
deal. It's
Yeah,
an
I mean, this is
objective.
a free to play game, right? or it's going to be a free
Was
to play
Payday
game.
2? I thought Payday you had to pay for it. I think Payday you had to pay for it.
I think this new one is going to
Oh, the
be.
new one is free to play?
I'm not sure. Maybe not. It does say Game Pass on it, so
Okay.
it may be paid for. But I don't know. Might need to check it out. I mean, it could be a good game to play. That is more objective based co-op or something like that.
Yeah.
So all right, moving on. This next one was a surprise. Was Persona 3 Reload, remake of
Yes.
Persona 3 coming from Atlas. The first of 3 Atlas announcements at this conference, by the way,
Oh
which
yeah.
is
I'm
continuing
actually
to be
not hyped for
notable.
this one. It's the other one I'm hyped for.
No, I
That one
know.
looks so fucking good.
I think the next 2 I'm a little bit more hyped for personally,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, dude, I've never played Persona 3, so I'm probably gonna pick this up and play it when it comes out. To be honest, you know, like I want to play another Persona game for sure, and this one I've always heard really good things about. So, um, this could be a very interesting game. But yeah, they're remaking the game. They didn't give a. I think they said 2024 as
Yeah.
the kind of release timing for it. So we're not getting it till next year. Um, yeah, um, that will be probably a big one. I'm assuming Persona has gotten pretty huge in recent years. So all right, moving on. Next game showed. This one surprised me that it was actually Avowed, but it was Avowed. We finally got some real gameplay from this game, and it's got a year. It's coming next year in 2024. But Montreal, what did you think of this gameplay for Avowed?
Uh it looks okay. It
Yeah,
looks it looks more like
yeah.
an advanced version of Skyrim. And I know that's going to be like, no, whatever, but it does. It looks like Skyrim 5.5.5 cuz Elder Scrolls 5 is Skyrim. So Elder Scrolls 5.5 but in a different world. This is actually the Pillars universe. So if you guys played Pillars 1 and 2, then
Oh,
you'll
is
be
it really?
very yeah, this is actually like a continuation of
Huh.
Pillars.
Because yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This looks kind of goofy to me. Like
Yeah.
the style they're going with here. And Pillars of Eternity is a very, very serious series of games. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so if you guys played Pillars 1 and 2, um then yeah, this will be if you're familiar with the lore of those games, then you'll like this game if you're familiar with the lore. But yeah, you're right. Pillars of Eternity. I don't know if it's not Pillars of Eternity, but they just said Pillars. So is it Pillars of
Yeah,
Eternity?
that's Pillars of
Okay,
Eternity. They made Pillars
okay,
of Eternity 1 and 2. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so it is a continuation of that game or like a subset of that game. You're going to a certain island of that game. And you know that
Okay.
the story is you're a part of the afflict you're like these the island's afflicted with some kind of like disease or something like that, and you got to figure it out, and your character has to go sit there to investigate. But yeah, I don't know. It looked okay to
Yeah,
me, but it
I
looked like
just
you said, it looked really goofy. I don't
yeah
know what to expect from the game.
yeah I expected a little bit more out of this. I didn't think it looked that good personally, and I don't know. Obsidian continues to let me down. I feel like they become a disappointing studio where Xbox calls them the RPG masters. I'm like, okay, since when though? Pillars of Eternity is probably the last like one they came out with, like Pillars of Eternity 2, I guess. And I don't know. It's like I don't even feel like they make RPGs anymore, you know? Um
Yeah, I will say I think their issue is they need to work on their gameplay. I think like their storytelling and world building and the actual RPG-ish part of it, like they're very RPG, right? Because when I'm playing Outer Worlds, that is a very RPG game. Like it has
mhm,
gunplay and everything, but you can tell that's not the main focus. The main focus of the game is like the storytelling and everything of that
yeah.
nature and your connection with the characters because everything is really well built out. Um, and I think I'll say I think their gameplay wise, they're getting carried by Bethesda. Like they took that Fallout engine and they did their own thing with it. That's because it was already there. Um, and a lot of the other games too that came out hasn't really wowed me, like you said. Um, I think they're just a super very heavy RPG. If you really want to get like, oh, these are the different paths, and you want really good writing and stuff like that, that's what the Obsidian game is, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they haven't been making those games recently, I guess is my point. Like Penitent is the last game they came out with, and then there was Grounded before that, and then what before that? I guess Pillars of Eternity 2. It's like they haven't really made an RPG in several years, like a real one. And I guess Avowed is that, but um, I don't particularly I'm not super excited by the style they're choosing here for this game. Um, so I don't know. To me right now, like they feel like a bootleg Bethesda, I guess. It's kind of what it feels like. They're a little bit more in the old style Bethesda used to have. That's kind of where they've kind of dug their heels in, I guess, and found their niche.
Yeah,
Because that, like you said, Outer Worlds, I'm forgetting. I forgot about that game too. That was probably the last real RPG they came out with. Um,
and that was a hit.
that's
A
like
lot of people love that game. So
yeah, but I would bet that's more Fallout 3 than Fallout 4. You know,
yeah, it is. Yeah, I would. That's a good comparison. It is more Fallout 3 ish than Fallout 4 ish. The gameplay is, the
yeah,
gunplay is for sure.
yeah. So all right. Well, that is supposedly coming next year, so we'll probably see more of it in the next 12 months, I would assume, before it comes out. All right. Next thing they showed was Sea of Thieves is getting a Monkey Island expansion of some sort. I don't. This was a pretty random pairing, but cool for Rare, I guess. It's kind of a big get.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to say about it. I think it's cool that they're combining that those two IPs. But yeah, I really don't have too
Hmm.
much. I never did play Monkey Island when I was younger, so this
Yeah.
really doesn't connect to me at all.
Yep. And then Flight Simulator 2024 was
Which actually looks
announced,
fun as
and
fuck.
they're adding all sorts of different ways you can fly in this game.
Yeah,
You can do cargo, fucking cargo shipping, aerial construction, skydive planes. All sorts of weird shit. So, but yeah, no, the game does look fucking. I don't know. I don't know why I've always been like weirdly interested in Flight Simulator, but it looks like they are investing in it as an IP now again after it being gone for a long time. So that is cool for people who like Flight Simulator for sure. But it
yeah,
looks good. All right. Next thing showed. This was a big one though. Was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. We got a story trailer um, of this game,
yeah.
which was pretty big. What did
Uh,
you think of this?
it was a cinematic trailer. I know they
Yeah,
did show gameplay of it before, but
a little bit.
I never really was into the. I have to actually play Hellblade 1. I have to finish it. Um, and it's a
Yeah,
decent game. The story, what I played of it so far is pretty good as well. Um, but I don't know. I gotta play more Hellblade 1 to actually feel the hype for Hellblade 2, if that makes any sense. But it
yeah.
is a very quality game from what I've heard.
Very, very creepy. Very creepy game.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the intent, obviously, but yeah, um, very creepy looking for sure. I don't have much to say about it. I never played Hellblade 1, so um, but that was a big one they showed though, and they did put a year on it as well, 2024. So um, would have liked a little bit more firmness out of some of these 2024 games, but um, it's nice to at least have a year, I guess, to look forward to for Xbox fans, certainly. But
yeah.
this will be a big game when it does come out. So, all right, moving on. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. um, Another Yakuza game, also shown at an Xbox showcase, which is interesting. Again, it's definitely a funny trailer, but again, cinematic, no gameplay, so not much to say there from me. What about you?
Yeah,
You
I
into
don't
these
know what
games?
this. Huh? You said how many other are there?
No, are you into these
Oh
Yakuza
yeah,
games?
yeah, I am. I didn't play like a Dragon 7 uh unfortunately, because I thought my friend told me I should play it because it went to a turn-based RPG.
Mhm.
So I am going to try it out because I think it's free now on Xbox or whatever, like maybe like $5 or $6 or something like that.
Yeah.
But this game, I know the first game or Yakuza 7 or like a Dragon 7 got a lot of praise. So a lot of people were hyped with this, but this is not like a Dragon 8. So I don't know whether usually if they do that, they're not going to have the same gameplay. So I don't know what this is, or maybe it's just an extension of like a Dragon 7. So I don't know
Mhm.
yet. So yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the other Yakuza games. There's two other Yakuza games that just came out, or another Yakuza game that just came out that I have to play.
Mhm.
That takes place back in like the Edo period of Japan. So I'm gonna try to play that as well.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, moving on. Fallout 76 is on Game Pass. Nothing to say there.
Yeah, we're never getting another Fallout, y'all. I'm just letting
Nope.
y'all know that right now. We're never
No,
getting
I
another
mean
Fallout.
you're not. You're getting Elder Scrolls 6 after Starfield, and then maybe you'll get Fallout 5. Maybe.
Maybe.
At which point it'll be 15 years from now. So enjoy that. All right. Next game shown was Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess.
Yeah, this
It's a
game
hack and
was
slash from
fucking
Capcom.
sick.
Well, tell me about it then. Dude, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this fucking trailer.
I
This
don't
is
know.
where
It
my
just looks
eyes like
fucking
glazed
sick,
over.
yo. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a hack and slash, and you're not samurai, but it looks like some kind of ninja, but like not the traditional ninja, like more of like the ceremonial versions of it. Or like, okay, this is how I can put it. You know how certain people, if you're familiar with Japanese culture, and they do like the Japanese stage dancing and Japanese acting on the stage for like
Yeah.
their version of Broadway or whatever. It looks like you're those characters, but like
Yeah.
playing as those characters. Um, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Um, and the gameplay looks fucking sick, yo. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's like a really good game. It's a hack and slash, but looks like it's also maybe party oriented. So maybe you're controlling other characters, or maybe it's multiplayer, or maybe you're controlling like 4 or 5 characters at a time. I don't know.
Mhm.
It just looks really cool.
All right. Well, moving on. Forza Motorsport. It's coming on October 10th. Looks like more Forza. Um, yeah, I don't play racing games, unfortunately. So, what about you? Any thoughts on this one?
Nah, I'm not really too interested in Forza, unfortunately. I
Yeah, they
wish I
spent a
was.
lot of time on this one too.
Yeah, I wish I was, but I didn't care. I actually kind of like I started doing some work when this came on, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. And then new Elder Scrolls Online. This has become a yearly tradition at these showcases. Another expansion, Necrom, is coming out on the 20th of this month. So very soon.
Yeah, and
Um,
unlike Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online is actually good. I
yeah.
recommend some people try it just to see if they like it. If you like the Elder Scrolls lore and everything like that, um, in the world and everything, it's a really good game. So yeah.
Fair enough. And then Overwatch 2 showed up and they had a trailer for their story expansion coming to Overwatch 2 in August. And yeah, so this was weird coming off the heels of the, kind of blowout that they were abandoning the story missions. The report from a couple months ago that we talked about that there actually are doing story missions. They're just not going to be the way that we all or they originally kind of sold it, I guess. Necessarily. So, I mean, what did you think of this?
I'm still not impressed. I'm actually upset that people have to pay for it.
15 bucks, yeah.
Yeah, $15 for it. And from what I understand, they're only going to be like, maybe 30-minute missions or something of that nature. There's no replayability in it at all.
Man, if that's it,
Um,
that's crazy for 15 bucks. Jesus.
yeah, like, um, yeah, from what I know, there's like no replayability. They, like I said, like they said, they removed all the hero skills and everything like that. So I think it's just going to be 4-player co-op of Overwatch in the story mode, and that's it. Like, and those
Yeah.
stories are going to be dropped. Like, I think they're dropping 3 episodes or 3 levels or missions or whatever. But you're probably going to have to wait, another couple months to get the other, stories or whatever. So I think it's going to be like an episodic thing. So
Hmm.
yeah,
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I I'm with you. I wasn't super impressed either. It feels like Blizzard's trying too hard with Overwatch 2. That's like always the impression I get with it. So all right. Well, next thing shown was this the one you were talking about that you were excited about? So Persona 5
no,
Tactica.
no, not this one. It's
Not
this.
this one? Okay,
No,
this
not this
one
one.
got me hyped. Cause yeah, you all know I'm the tactics guy on this fucking podcast. Yeah, this
Yeah.
looks fucking awesome, dude. Like I'm super excited about this. Set in the Persona 5 universe as well. Like this is gonna be awesome, dude. Like I'm very excited to see more of this game. It looks really good. And I think we got a date. Yeah, a date for it, 11/17. So November 17th coming this year. So that is very soon. You have any interest in it at all or not really?
It looks all right. I don't know. I'm just over the Persona 5 thing. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, they've done
It does look
this.
pretty fun though. So
Yeah, they did this with Persona 4 though too, where they milked the shit out of that
yeah.
universe for a while. So yeah, um, not surprised they're doing this with Persona 5, which was their most popular Persona yet. So, um, but but a lot of their character voices are returning. It looks like too, so that's cool. That'll be interesting. But all right, next game showed was something called Jusant from Don't Nod. It's like a climbing game.
Yeah,
That
and it looked okay. I'm not gonna hate on this game because, like I said, I played fucking Death Stranding, and that's like a hiking game, and it turned out to be like really fucking fun. So I'm
mhm.
probably gonna give this game a shot. I'm willing to give games like this a shot now that like Death Stranding kind of opened my eyes to that type of shit.
Yep.
Um, because yeah, it looks like it's gonna have some storytelling in it and everything like that. So, I might actually get Game Pass to pay some of these games I don't have to pay for. I could just play them and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, after that was a horror game, Still Wakes the Deep. We didn't really see much of it.
yeah. I don't know who the Chinese Room is. Like, is that a?
They made fucking that walking simulator. Oh my god. Everybody Goes to the Rapture.
Hmm,
You remember that one?
no, I don't remember that one.
That was a long time ago.
It goes to the Rapture. Little Orpheus. Oh, they made Amnesia.
2015.
Oh, they made expansion for Amnesia.
Yeah. So I think Everybody Goes to the Rapture is the last game they made.
Hmm.
But I'll make sure. I'm gonna check
And
Wikipedia real quick.
won awards. So
Yeah.
all right.
Here we go. Game
Yeah,
Pass.
I never heard of this game before. That's crazy.
Yeah, everybody's gone to the Rapture, Dear Esther, Landmark Edition, So Let Us Melt, and Little Orpheus. Interesting. Yeah, they have not made very many games in recent years.
Yeah,
But
this game looks cool though. This still wakes the deep. This looks really
yeah.
cool actually. Um, I might play this. To be honest with you, because I like horror games. So
Hmm. Well, it's coming early 2024. Next game shown was a cell shaded game called Dungeons of Hinterberg. So this looked interesting to me, but it didn't look like it was running very well.
yeah, I'm even watching the frame right now. It looks like it's very rough right now.
Animations are really, really jagged too. Like,
Yeah,
doesn't look super great. The concept looks really cool though. If they can
yeah,
clean that up,
I think the game looks. decent enough. I don't think this is gonna be like a full $60 game. If it's
No.
like 20 or $30 or whatever, I'll pick it up. Because it
Yeah.
looks like it has the same like third person combat, but then it goes like an isometric as well in
Yeah.
certain aspects of the game,
Yeah.
which looks really cool to me. Somebody was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like Breath of the Wild," and I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, did you get
What?
Breath of the Wild from this?
What? No. Why does everybody compare every game to Breath of the Wild, dude? Like I don't what the fuck is that?
Like they were dead serious. Like this is you didn't even
Looks
like
nothing
Breath of the
like
Wild.
Breath of the Wild. What are you
Why would you
talking
like this game?
about?
And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? And I maybe because it's cell shaded, maybe that's why they thought I didn't.
I fucking hate that game. Can I just say that? I fucking hate Breath of the Wild, dude. Like I am so tired of hearing that game in game conversation. Like Jesus Christ. It's
This
not the
yeah
only
this
open world game that ever existed. And this game's not even open world. Like it doesn't even look open world. It's like a level based fucking I don't know,
well, you know
action
what's in the
game.
title? Fucking Dungeons, which is fucking Breath of the Wild doesn't have. So.
It doesn't have any. Yeah, what I don't whatever, dude. I don't whatever, man. I have no idea. I'm
Yeah,
so
so
confused.
I don't know if they're just trying to like troll me or like get under my skin or whatever. But I was just like I don't see Breath of the Wild in this game at all, so I will be playing this game. But
Yeah.
I'm actually excited for it. It looks really good to me. Like
Yeah, I just think they need to clean up the animations and the frame rate, honestly,
yeah.
and then I'll be a lot more interested, probably. But all right. Next thing was Cyberpunk. Keanu Reeves was on stage for a minute, and he was Keanu Reeves, and introduced the Phantom Liberty is coming on September 26th. And in addition to this, there was a lot of preview coverage of this this past week, and there's reporting out there that this is a massive overhaul for Cyberpunk, like potentially fulfilling the promise of the game pre-release several years ago or a few years ago that we all kind of fell for. And you and I are a little bit more skeptical, I think, of this, where it's more of a I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With this, we've fallen for this once. I'm not going to fall for it again with it, but I think people are falling for it right now. There's a lot of
Yep.
hype going on
There's
out
a
there
lot of hype.
again.
Yep. And
So
maybe it's actually warranted this time, but
I hope so.
I know a lot of influencers or whatever, especially one that I've recently started watching. Her name's Susie Hunter, I think it is.
Hmm.
So she went out there and she's like, yo, she pretty much said like, I know you guys have your qualms with like fucking, Cyberpunk, but I played the game, I got my hands on the game, and it was actually okay, and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. She wasn't one of the people actually that like hyping the game up. Um, like it was people like Young Yeah and all those other people and like Skill
Skill
Up
up.
and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like
No,
those are like some.
she's pretty.
No, she's fucking big. Like she's big.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't watch I wasn't watching her at the time when Cyberpunk was going through its thing.
Yeah.
I didn't start watching her until after this, because like Resident Evil stuff was happening and she's like a huge Resident Evil fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but like yeah, the Cyberpunk thing happened, and I think I'm glad I had the podcast and stuff like that, and I hope some people are listening because I couldn't really say my thoughts all the way. I think people like really misconstrued like what I don't like about Cyberpunk, and a lot of people keep telling me I always see this: it's fixed, it's fixed, it's fixed, and like it's not that Cyberpunk is fixed. I don't fucking care about that shit. Um, the game can be a 10 out of 10 now.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Cyberpunk is the whole principle behind it. A lot of people don't understand that completely changed everything for me as far as like how I consume content around games, how I look at reviewers and everything. Because I don't know if you remember, Justin, but I distinctly remember the lead up to this game. I
Yep.
remember I was super skeptical then. Like you were in
Go
TR
listen
or
to
like
our
super hype.
podcast.
Yeah.
He was very skeptical.
I was
I
super
got
skeptical then.
I got a lot more reticent the closer we got to the game coming out
Yeah.
because I remember the month, I think it was like the 3 months leading up to the game coming out, there was a lot of weird comments coming out of CD Projekt that were starting to make me really wary about the game,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
melee combat stuff. Like I forget what he said. He was like they were still working on melee combat or something like that, like 2 months before the game came out. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
yeah,
so yeah, I got a lot more reticent closer, but you were no you were skeptical the whole way from what I
yeah.
remember.
I
But
was skeptical the whole way, and I'm usually not a like that towards games, but for some reason, this game was just really rubbing me the
I
wrong
mean, the
way. Because
hype
I
was crazy. It was like
well,
Fallout 4 level hype, dude. Like
yeah. The thing
more
about
than
this
that
game,
even.
though, I've been following this game since like 2012
Yeah,
because I
right.
really wanted a cyberpunk game, and not
Yeah.
2012. When did The Witcher release? 2015,
No, dude,
2014.
this game was announced in like 2012, I
Oh, it
think.
was? Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been hyped for this game for a while. I remember seeing like not screenshots, but like the sketch work and their ideas for the game. It was
Yeah.
like popping up all over like the internet and stuff like that. And I was like super hyped for this game. But I just didn't know when it was gonna come out. And this is when I used to like browse like the 4chan boards. It was 4chan B, which is the video game board, and people were like, oh, I really want like a cyberpunk ass game. Where can I find that? And people were like, well, it's not here yet. And then they were posting like leaked screenshots of Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. That's when I found out about the game because I really want like a space game or a cyberpunk this ish game at the time as well. So yeah, I was really looking forward to this game. But anyway, like, not to say like, oh well, you built this game up in your head, and I actually fucking forgot about this game until like recently, until
Mhm.
it was like announced and stuff like that, or whatever. So, but all the way leading up to the game, and then the game finally dropped or whatever, and then I remember before the embargo happened, during the embargo, and then after the embargo, and then once people actually got into their hands,
Mhm.
that whole era right there of games or of gaming changed my life. And I'm not exact. It sounds so dramatic, y'all, but it's not. It changed my life as far as how I consume content for video games. Because I remember Young, yeah, I remember Skill Up, I remember fucking some other people that I trusted. Like they're like, yo, this game, man, they flew me out, bro. I played the fucking game, and oh my fucking god, oh my fucking, it's just the stuff you can do and the action and all this other, oh my god. And I'm just like, okay, cool, yeah.
Mhm.
And but then I kept hearing other stuff, and then there was that weird 40-minute gameplay video they showed of the game, and I was just like, what, this looks fucking weird, like this can't be fucking real, like I don't know. And I think at this point we were still unsure about the PS5 and Xbox Series X at the time as well, um about getting
Yes.
our hands on it.
They haven't even been announced yet.
Yeah, they haven't even
Well, we
been
also
announced
didn't
yet.
even know we didn't know if the game was going to have a next gen version at launch, which it turned out it was not.
Exactly.
Um yeah.
Um, so I saw the game and how it looked, and I was just like, yikes. Okay, this game looks too good. Um, and I don't know, and just everybody else was just talking to hyping the game up and everything. And then it came out, and then everybody turned on CD Project Red. And I wasn't mad at the audience. I wasn't even mad at like CD Project Red, to be honest with you. I mean, I was to a certain extent, but I wasn't like super mad. The the thing I was mad at was like the influencers and the publications, everybody covering this game, everybody flipped on the switch and was like, now that the criticism was out and it was bad blood, now everybody's like, oh yeah, we,
It was all on CD Project Red, which
yeah,
admittedly most of it should have been, but the media was culpable in what happened with that game.
yes, and
100%.
and in my
That's why we're
opinion,
so skeptical on this podcast, dude. Like that's why we don't
yes,
hype games. I don't hype games on this show most of the time because like I can't in good conscience sit here and say like, "Oh, a game looks amazing." And then it comes out as a piece of shit. You know, it's like I told people that it looks fucking amazing, you know? It's like
yeah,
I mean there are times where I say a game looks amazing, but it's like like almost all the time it's always with that caveat that like it's not out yet. We don't know. Wait,
yeah.
don't pre-order it. Like don't buy it
Don't
on day
pre-order it.
1. Wait and see. Like That's
even when Final Fantasy
always.
16 just recently
Yeah.
dropped the demo, people are like, "Oh, I'm pre-ordering now." I'm like, "I'm still not pre-ordering it. I'm still
Dude,
waiting
don't
for it."
pre-order it.
Yeah.
Like,
I
why are you pre-ordering it? Like, I still don't understand that. Like, I'm hyped for Final Fantasy 16. Me and Montreal both are, right? Like, that's a great example. Like, we're both super hyped for the game, dude. I'm not pre-ordering it. I'll buy it
No.
after it comes out. Like,
It but so that's my biggest, takeaway from Cyberpunk 2077 is that, the media learned nothing from it. The media
yeah,
and the influencers and the YouTube influencers and everybody else, the only people that suffered was CD Projekt Red, which I don't think was fair. I mean, yes, they have their blame in making the game and
yeah,
presenting
right,
it with what it was, and I feel like they got their just desserts from it, or not their just desserts, but they got their thrashing from it from like the community and
yeah,
everything.
right.
But the media went completely unscathed in this, and I feel like no one held them accountable to that. And I was
Well,
just
to the
like,
point where we're doing it again now.
exactly.
We're hyping Phantom Liberty now.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like,
maybe
oh, it's
Phantom
the
Liberty
game
is,
it always could have been, or it was supposed
yeah,
to be. It's like, okay, yeah, like, did we learn anything here?
like,
Because yeah, I think what they're promising makes a lot of sense. I believe
yeah,
it
now
a
I
little bit
believe
more
it
here,
now because
but
like the
well,
consoles and
because
everything can handle it, you know?
well, all that, and also I felt like that CD Projekt was going to do that with this game after what happened at launch, right?
Yeah.
Like, they had a reputation that they ruined, and I think they want to get that back. And this game was something very special that they completely flubbed, and I think it makes a lot of sense that they would take 3 years and fix the fucking game and release a DLC that's huge and like has all this shit, but like makes the game what it was supposed to be ultimately or originally. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I
Yeah.
believe that. Now, do I think they're going to hit that mark? I have no idea. It's like, to your point, the consoles can handle it a little bit better now, but that doesn't mean the game's going to be like completely fixed, dude. Like, how many things were wrong that like
A-
weren't the way they originally said they were going to be or the way they showed? It's
And
like they're going to
I'll
fix
be
all
honest,
of
like,
them.
yeah, and
I
I'll
don't
be
know.
honest, right? I've been actually like contemplating buying Cyberpunk because I'm like, I really want to try this game again, another shot because
Play it
I've trashed
before.
on it. Yeah, I trashed on it. I played it when it first launched. I played it on a PC. I didn't have any issues, but it just wasn't the game for me.
Yeah.
The first like 10 hours I played of it. Um, but like everybody keeps saying, like, yo, you gotta give it another chance. And I am one of those people to where sometime the first time, well, I mean, we talked about it, like sometime the first time you play the game doesn't click with you, and then the second time you play it, you get it or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and I will be a hypocrite if I don't give this game a second shot because I gave Battlefield a second shot, 2042. So I do want to play the game, but I might just wait till Phantom Liberty come out. If I can play the past game and play this game with like the new updates,
Mhm.
then cool or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I like to, dude, to be honest, I never played it. I never ended up playing it. It was so bad. Everything was so bad about it. I just said, okay, I'm just gonna wait for Phantom Liberty and the next gen update because I didn't
yeah,
want to play it. I didn't want to play it on PC, and I still don't. And I like the next gen update still hasn't happened. I don't think.
no, I
I
think it
think it's
did. It
coming.
happened. It happened
It
already.
did. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I was waiting for that, but then we got to the point where like Phantom Liberty's close. I'm like, I might as well just wait till this comes out.
yeah.
And I've been proven right here potentially by how they're overhauling the game with it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait till Phantom Liberty comes out. So I mean, like, I don't know. I this whole
Like
thing, like,
it's
I don't have personal experience with the game, so I don't want to be like overly critical of them. But at the same time, like, I trust your judgment on these things. We can't play every game that we cover necessarily, or like
yeah.
both of us can't play every game that we cover in the show. So I trust what you've said about the game, and yeah, I think like we got to be skeptical. It's like I don't understand how we're gonna give them a pass here. Like, this better come out and be what they're saying, because if it's not, then we're just in another cyberpunk situation.
Well, my thing is
So
not even giving them a pass. Like it's about the influencers and everybody. Everybody's coming out now, like, oh my god, like, oh, hey guys, like it's good again, and everything is like chill, and then everybody's getting hyped again, and I'm just like, didn't. But the problem is, like CD Project learned their lesson, but none of the influencers learned their lesson. So now they're doing this hyping shit again, and
Yeah.
I I just can't trust it. And so that's why, like for me, Cyberpunk was like the it was the reason why I kept doing this podcast as well, because I'm like, we need to get out there. We need to let people know, like, hey guys, I'm super jazzed for fucking Final Fantasy 16, but I'm not going to go out there and tell you to instantly buy Final Fantasy 16 or whatever. Um, whereas like I just felt lied to. I and you know it was weird. Like I know it's stupid to say or whatever, because like these people don't owe me shit or whatever. But it's like uh it's almost how the same feeling we started this podcast because of like kind of funny or whatever, right? We kind of felt
Yeah.
betrayed by that whole dynamic when everything
Yeah.
kind of changed and everything like that.
Hmm.
Um that was for me, that was another epiphany for Cyberpunk, because I unsubscribed from like so many people, and I was just like, yeah, I'm never watching y'all's videos again. And I don't watch and I don't watch your videos again at all.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
No, it makes sense. And I mean, yeah, we always preach that on this show, right? Skepticism, guys. Like you can be excited about things. Like I'm really excited about Final Fantasy 16, but like you can be excited about something, but also have that like skepticism at the same time. That like I'm gonna wait until it's out and I have like proof out there that I can go look at that tells me, okay, this game's worth buying, you know? Because or it's worth buying for me because like it's you never know, man. You just never know. You never know. How many times are we gonna go through this? You know, fucking Watch Dogs, Cyberpunk, like these games that just like their marketing campaigns are a lie, you know, that they lie to everybody. They create these vertical slices and shit and they make their game seem like something that it's not, you know, to sell it. No Man's Sky, another example. Like it's like how many times are we going to do that? You know, this has been going
Yeah.
on for 10 or 15 years now. You know, and it's like when are we going to learn our lesson as consumers? So I practice what I preach with this. I do not pre-order games. I don't remember the last game that I actually pre-ordered. I literally don't. Like I don't know because I have not done it in such a long fucking time. Because there is no point in pre-ordering a game. Like I find zero purpose in pre-ordering a game. If you are so ravenous to play a game that you need to pre-order it and pre-download it so you can play it at midnight the day it comes out, you might need to take a step back. Like chill the fuck out. You aren't going to die if you wait 24 hours. Like you're not. So, it's just a video game. Like and I fucking love games. Montrell loves games. We fucking do this podcast every week. We fucking love games, but there is no game. There is no game that I am so desperate to play that I need to pre-order it so I can like pre-download it and play it at midnight. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just don't do that. Like I don't do it, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It's it's frustrating to see it happening again with the same fucking game, you know, too. So we'll see what happens. I hope they hit it. I hope it comes out and it's as good as everybody says. But it's another game added to the list for me later this year that I want to play. Like,
Yep.
because
Same.
I never played it, so and I want to, and I want it
Yeah,
to
and
be as good
I
as
really
it.
want to give this game another shot and everything.
Yeah,
So yeah.
right. Yeah, and I want it to be what it was supposed to be, right? Originally. And I want to experience that. So we'll see. All right, moving on. The next game they showed was City Skylines 2, which is coming on October 24th. And man, I've never played SimCity or City Skylines, any of these city builder games. But dude, this I don't know. This looks like my kind of game, man. I need like
Yeah, I actually thought about you when I saw this game. Like, oh, he'll love this
yeah,
game.
I sincerely like want to try this out. But again, this is coming on October 24th. It's like, dude, like those 3 months, September, October, November are fucking packed right now. Like packed with so many games that I want to play. And I'm just like I'm like overwhelmed by how much shit there is. So it's this one's probably not going to get played right away, but I'm definitely interested in it, especially since it's a new entry, can start fresh, you know, not with like an established game that has like 80 million DLCs,
Yeah.
you know, and is like hyper complicated. So I may check that one out at some point in the future. But all right, moving on. This is the one you were excited about. Was from the makers of Persona,
Yeah.
their new RPG from Atlas, Metaphor Refantasio.
Yes. I don't know why I'm so excited for this game. It just looks very different from like the Persona ish
Yeah,
vibes. It's not in high school or anything like that. It almost look like it's like Warring Kingdoms almost
yeah,
type deal.
yeah.
The menu looks really fucking cool. And I mean, Persona's like really good with their menus and everything, their UI. The UI design looks really fucking cool. It has like this dark fantasy but Mad Max futuristic vibe to it. It
Graphics look
looks really
crazy.
fucking cool, man. Like, I don't know. It looks really fucking cool. The monsters look cool and everything of that nature. So yeah, I can't wait for it. To be honest with
Yeah,
you, it looks really
the graphical style looks kind of crazy too, like very
yeah,
interesting. Kind of like a sort of cell shaded, but like more rough, I guess.
yeah.
Looking in terms of textures. So, no, this looks really cool. For sure. Yeah, I don't know. This one's been a long time coming too. This game's been rumored for quite a while.
Oh really? I didn't. This is my first time hearing about it. So
Oh, really? No, yeah,
yeah.
this has been out there for a long time. But it's coming in 2024. Um, that is the year they put on it. So this was the third of three Atlas announcements. New announcements, well, fairly new. Um, that came on the Xbox showcase, which is interesting. This relationship continues to grow with Xbox and Atlas. So um I'm finding that intriguing. It hasn't borne anything specific yet, like an actual exclusive, but um I feel like we're building to that point. It's,
Well, I,
obviously Persona's not going to be exclusive, but they could get
yeah.
something.
I was thinking like if they drop their Xbox Series S, I mean, you can play these games on the Xbox Series S, so you can play it at a cheaper rate
Yeah.
than getting a PS5. So maybe that's
Mhm.
what they're going for. Like, you can get Japanese games on the Xbox Series S now. Like that's what they're. I think that's what they're trying to market their game as. It's not the dude bro console anymore. Like, because to be honest
Yeah.
with you, none of these games we saw were dude bro-ish. To be honest with you, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean maybe Fallout, but like I don't know. Xbox is really trying. It looks like they're trying to diversify themselves. Like, I didn't see a Call of Duty ad or a fucking Madden ad or a fucking 2K ad or anything like that. This was all like real games. Like, those are real games too, y'all. Don't get me wrong, but like these are all like different type of games and everything like that. And I was thoroughly impressed by that. So
Mhm.
yeah,
All right. Moving on. Next game shown was Towerborn, which is coming from the team that made the Banner Saga trilogy. It is a co-op adventure game, and according to the trailer, set in an ever-changing world, quote unquote. Kind of like looked like a 2D beat 'em up, sort of.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, almost.
it looks pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, it looks like a
Um,
2.5D beat 'em up. It looks like
Kind of
I think
reminds me of
I'll
like,
play the game.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of a 2D beat 'em up, but almost like with a little bit of Tails mixed in there with
Yeah.
some of the combos and stuff that it looked like. So, also coming in 2024, but yeah, it looked interesting for sure. All right, moving on. Last game before they got to the Starfield deep dive. It's called Clockwork. Coming from In Exile is Clockwork Revolution. Sorry, Clockwork Revolution. This game looked stunning to
Yes.
me.
Um, I I thought this was gonna be BioShock. That's what I
Yeah,
thought it was.
right. Yeah,
Um,
same.
but it's not, and I'm definitely gonna check out this game because I don't know. There's a space for games like this, and we need these type of games. So it looked really good. I recommend you guys go check out the trailer if you haven't. It's called Clockwork Revolution. But yeah, it's a first person shooter. But it's very steampunkish.
Yeah,
Um, it's almost BioShock. If you guys play BioShock Infinite, it looks like
yeah,
this could be the extension of BioShock Infinite, like
yeah,
bar none.
definitely.
Yeah. I don't know what you think of it, Justin.
Yeah, I know. No, this looked awesome to me, dude. Like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of my point about the showcase. There were a lot of things. There were a lot of big games they showed, but there were ones like this that were just big surprises. That were like really stunning looking.
Yeah.
That yeah, this was one of the more impressive things from the showcase for me. I was like, damn, dude, this looks fucking sick. So I don't know. My Xbox might actually get turned on in the next year. With all this stuff. Because, dude, like I said, I've said this before. I've got 6 months of Game Pass just sitting, waiting that I've not redeemed. And I've had it for like 2 years now. So I'm just waiting for that moment because all these games are coming day one on Game Pass. So, like I'm just waiting for the moment they drop something that I want to play, and I'm just gonna redeem that and go jump into it.
Hmm.
So, um, but yeah, no, this looked really cool. Definitely BioShock vibes for sure. I was thinking the same thing. I thought it was BioShock as well, but then when it wasn't, I was like, oh, okay. So if 2K is not going to give it to us, someone is. So, um, all right, that was it for the main showcase, and then they did their Starfield deep dive. Did you watch this whole thing?
I actually did.
I did too.
I
Okay,
did.
good. I'm glad you did because yeah, I did too earlier today. So what did you think?
I am not gonna lie. I know we've been like, especially me, I've been
Uh
shitting
huh.
on it.
Yep.
Especially when they first
Well,
showed that gameplay.
to be
Uh,
fair, this is what we needed, right?
yeah, yeah, this is what we needed. Because when they showed that first gameplay, I was like, this is it. This is all
Yeah.
you've been working on for the last
Right.
almost 10 years at this point. Um, but no, I was thoroughly impressed, man. Like, if they can deliver on what they just showed me at this
Yeah.
showcase, and then they had another showcase after this one where they expanded a little bit more on it as well. Um,
Hmm.
of course, Todd Howard. First of all, I'm glad like he wasn't throughout the entire thing because I don't believe a word that man. I feel bad for that man's wife because I don't believe. I know she don't believe a word he says. I don't believe nothing he says.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
uh, he
Dude,
sh-
he's
he
such
can
a
show me gameplay right there and put $1
yeah.
million in my hand and say like
Yep.
Montrell, this is $1 million. I'm like, no, it's not. You're lying to me. It's not $1 million. But anyway,
Yeah.
this game, man, the RPG mechanics in it look really good, really solid. The story path and branches they have, the characters you can interact with. I'm gonna be honest with you. It reminds me of Star Citizen offline.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
what Star Citizen promised me
Yeah, man.
10 years ago. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so
Well, dude, the shipbuilding and the ship modification
yeah,
mechanics, those look really deep, like crazy deep.
the space exploration, the
Combat.
ship, the combat, um, yeah, even the ground combat and everything like looked really fun. It
It
looked
looks a lot
very
better than what they showed the first time, dude. Like
yes,
I'm
yeah.
like, man, what the hell were you guys doing holding this back? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they actually took that feedback and made the combat better. Or maybe they
Maybe.
just wanted to show that. I don't know. But yeah, I was just thoroughly impressed with everything I saw. Um, I was surprised it was a Bethesda game, to be honest with you. They did come out and say that this game's going to be locked at 30 frames per second, which I think is a
Yep.
good thing.
That's
Um,
okay. I
a
I
lot of
actually
people
think
say
it
it's a bad thing. I think
yeah.
it's a really good thing. Unless it's not locked on PC. It's going to be unlocked on
Yeah.
PC. But on
But in the
Xbox Series
context of
X,
what this is, I think they had to go 30 frames, dude. Like
yeah,
this is too ambitious of it. Like there's too much happening in this game, I think, for it to run at 60 on the consoles. Like I
yeah,
just, I think they want to focus on the immersion of the game world over that constant frame rate. And I think in a case by case situation, we've bashed this before with other games, but in the right context, I think doing 30 frames is okay if this is the reason you're doing it for.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was actually impressed with everything I saw, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Now, that being said, will it release in this state? Only time can tell because like I said, you can show me a million gameplay footages and everything like
yeah,
that. And
right.
until I actually get my hands on the game, I'm not gonna tell people to go out and buy it. I'm not gonna tell people to go out and pre-order it. I'm not gonna pre-order the game. But
I will
I don't know,
say though,
man.
to their credit, I think this game was truly running on an Xbox in this showcase because it doesn't look like it's running perfectly, and
Yes, yeah.
I like that they did that.
A lot of people were
Because
hating on it though. A
they're
lot of
being
people were hating on it.
honest though. They're being honest. Like they're showing it on. They're actually showing honest gameplay. Like that is a difference between this and Cyberpunk. Like like we can't sit here and say like we're gonna bash on Cyberpunk for what happened with that game and then get mad at a company like Bethesda when they actually show us a flawed game and be angry at them that it's flawed, like, that they're actually showing something flawed. Like, come on, guys. Like I would much rather them do this and show a game truly what the game is, and it have some flaws that are clear and obvious that we can all see, than them lie about it and then we find that out after the fact, after we've all spent $70 on it. It's like,
Yeah.
so I gotta give them credit, a lot of credit here. As much as we've criticized them for this game and been skeptical and talked a lot of shit on this podcast, this is exactly what I needed to kind of sell me on this game, is a deep dive like this that really went into everything, dude. Like almost every aspect of the game.
Yeah.
And I think like they even went into the planet, the way the planets were designed, where they talked about the planets were procedurally generated. So they admitted that, which obviously they had to have been, but they didn't. They last time they talked about this, they didn't make it sound that way. But yeah, the planets are procedurally generated, and uh they are implanted with content after they are generated. And it's kind of they made it sound like there's kind of like a grab bag of things that their designers have created, that their developers have created,
Yeah.
that
That's
will
why I
be
was getting from
placed
it
on your
too.
yeah, that will kind of be placed on the planet randomly. So because there was a point where they said two players may have the same planet with two completely different setups on that planet, like yours might have an abandoned mine, like an abandoned mine, or and then like a fucking like civilian outpost somewhere over here, and then this other one might have the same one for a different player, might have like a fucking research facility or something, so which I found that interesting. That's definitely interesting. That's my only caveat with this game is, does it feel natural? Does it start to feel procedurally generated as you're playing it? That's like my only bit of skepticism, I guess, coming out of this, that I would be concerned about. We're not going to be able to know that till the game comes out, obviously, though. So I guess we will see. But yeah, everything I saw here, like, I mean, I was impressed. I'm like, I'm not 100% sold that I'm going to play this game. Honestly, they almost showed too much. I was like overwhelmed coming out of this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this game sounds like you could play it for like a fucking 1,000 hours, like there sounds like there's just so much to fucking do, in this game. So it's I don't know, man. It but definitely looks interesting. I mean, they got tons of gun variety, weapon variety, different play styles, which I found kind of cool. The aesthetic of it is definitely interesting as well. That um kind of NASA styling that they have to all the character designs and the suits and the robots and the ships and everything. I actually like that a lot, as well. And yeah, I mean, they reaffirmed that September 6th date too. So I think we're getting this game in 3 months.
Yeah. Like I said, I do recommend you guys go check it out. It's a super
Yeah.
deep dive, but like from what they're saying, this is gonna be like a RPG. Like you
Yeah.
can go into stores and do all this other shit, and like the world will shape around your decisions and everything like that. And like I said, I don't know, I can't believe everything Todd Howard says, but he wasn't just talking this time; it was other people talking.
Honestly, they had like the whole fucking studio in the goddamn video, dude. Like,
Yeah,
it was crazy, which got me a lot more confident about it, though, personally.
yeah. I think they know the
Um,
meme of Todd Howard. Like they have to know that meme of him
yeah.
at
Well,
this point.
also, I think it's a lot harder to get this many people to say things that are fabricated or not all the way true, so
Yeah,
it's like I have a lot more confidence about what they showed and what they were talking about here, because they got the actual developers who probably made the shit they're talking about, to talk about it. So they're not just like salesmen, they're not selling the game necessarily like that. So but it sounds like there's a lot of flexibility with the game, as well. Like you can make your character one way and you can have these like traits and perks, and you might be able to like change those in the middle of the game, which is actually kind of a new thing. But you're gonna have to do it in unique ways. They showed one where like you have like a super fan or whatever, and they like follow you around and shit, and like they're literally with you all the time, and they fucking love you, and they just talk to you all the time about you. And if you get annoyed enough with them, they kind of suggested that you could just like kill the guy on a planet, and you lose the perk. So that was pretty funny. And then they showed the collector's edition, which I'm gonna be honest, looked pretty fucking dope, man.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, the controller and
the watch,
the watch and everything. Yeah, it looked really
yeah.
dope.
Well, the case too for the watch looked really cool, but that one I'd be a lot more careful with, though. What they showed might not be what people get, so
Yes, yeah.
just gonna be very honest about that, because they showed what appeared to be a very like tight, almost metal plastic case, um that looks really solid. I don't know if you're gonna really get that, because they showed
Yeah.
the one for Fallout 4,
Mhm.
and the Vault Boy or whatever, what is it called? Is that what it's called? I forget what it's
Yeah, it's
called.
called
The thing you have
Vault
in your
Boy.
arm. But yeah, that thing was just a giant piece of plastic. So, be wary, be wary about that purchase. But it looked pretty cool if it turns out to be the way it looks. But the controller and the headset they showed though do look really nice. Um, that are coming to Xbox. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. They kind of wowed me with this one. A lot of people, like I was on Twitter, so I mean, I don't know if you're on Reddit or anything like that. Well, you probably couldn't be on Reddit because they were having a blackout to protest it.
mhm. Oh yeah.
But a lot of people were kind of hating on the game, but I was like, yo, this shit looks impressive. I
What
feel
were they
like if this
hating
game
on?
was on PlayStation, everybody would be sucking this game's dick. But
Yeah.
it's on Xbox, so whatever. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. I was like, wow, like, and I'm actually glad they came out. They had the balls to say once again, this is 30 frames per second, and I think that's okay. I think that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. What were people complaining about? Like, what were they talking shit about?
They just said it didn't look fun. I'm over this type of game.
Okay.
You know, the frame rate looks crazy and all this other shit like that. And I was just like, yikes, okay, man. But there were other people who were like, yo, this game looks really fun. But a lot of people were skeptical like me. Were like, it looks fun, but is it really gonna be this when it comes out?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Right. Well, that's fair. I mean, open world games, I mean, we talk about open world fatigue, right? This is open world to the nth degree, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so if you have fatigue like we do, I mean, that is a feeling I had coming out of this, is the overwhelming nature of that like, oh my god, dude, this game looks like bigger than any game I've ever played, and it's like that's alone is extremely intimidating. So, um, but we'll see. I mean, it's 3 months, not even 3 months until this comes out. So we're on the precipice of finding out how true all of this is. So, but I was impressed personally. I think them having the balls to go this deep on the game is a testament to their confidence on it, certainly, and that this is a really big game for Xbox. I will say though, Xbox's rhetoric, they really need to chill out with the hyperbole. They called this the most important RPG ever made, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, calm the fuck down, guys. Like, y'all's games aren't that important, Like, so it just drives me nuts, man. It's not even Bethesda saying that either. It was fucking Xbox, I think Phil Spencer said that shit, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro. So, all right. Anyways, so that was it for the Xbox showcase. I mean, overall thoughts, how'd you feel about it?
I asked people was I like, right in my feeling, like I was like, I feel like this one was better than PlayStation's. And some people were like, oh, it was
Absolutely.
people were like, I think I said it was maybe neck and neck or a better than PlayStation's. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that you said like, yo, this is better than PlayStation. So
I don't even think it was
I
close, dude.
I feel like it
PlayStation's
was
was
way better.
pathetic in comparison, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually don't remember anything
in
memorable
terms
from
of
PlayStation.
in terms of first party announcements, that's the difference,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
This Xbox showcase was littered with big first party stuff. PlayStation's had nothing from the first party except for Spider-Man, like, basically, and a bunch of like multiplayer shooters that we have no idea what the fuck they're gonna be, like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that night and day. Like, I'd say PlayStation had some good third party stuff at theirs, but so did Xbox. So if you're judging them, off that, then Xbox definitely goes ahead on the first party shit, like 100%, dude. So I mean, they gave us time frames on a lot of these games too. You know, a lot of stuff they put 2024 dates on. I don't think necessarily all of it's going to hit that potentially, but at least they're giving us a time frame of when we might be able to expect it. Sony gave us nothing, dude. You know, nothing. They didn't even give a date of on Spider-Man in their showcase. They did that at the Summer Game Fest. So it's like, you know, as much as the Spider-Man gameplay was cool, it's like, you know, we couldn't even get the date there. They held that back for some other show. Like that's weird to me.
Yeah.
So no, I think people are being really harsh on Xbox if they're saying that PlayStation showcase was better than this, because I think, like, dude, what more could you possibly want from Xbox if this wasn't good enough? You know, like I don't know what the answer to that question would even be. You know, like you just don't like Xbox if this wasn't a good showcase to you. You know,
I think that's what it just boils down to. People don't like, Xbox or whatever. Um, but no, I think this was like really, really, this was better
yeah,
than PlayStation's. I was thoroughly, and maybe because I expected too much from PlayStation and too little from Xbox. That's a fair analysis,
true,
I think.
true,
Where I was
definitely,
disappointed in PlayStation and I was impressed because I wasn't expecting too much. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was
yeah,
better.
but yeah, I mean, dude, you've got Fable, Avowed. You've got Starfield Deep Dive. You've got Hellblade 2. You know, those are like the big four, and then you'd say like Clockwork Revolution maybe, and then the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Um, you know, and then you've got the Persona announcements, which those are big third-party announcements in my opinion. Um, you know, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there, and then there's some minor things like Towerborn and a couple others in the showcase. So I think it was really good overall. I think they did a really good job, personally. So this is probably the best one they've had in years, I would argue.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. This is like the best one they probably had in years.
So all right, fair enough. All right, we are deep in the show. We need to get through Ubisoft Forward, and we still got a couple other things to talk about. So let's get through the Ubisoft stuff. So Ubisoft Forward was interesting. I ended up watching most of it because there were definitely some interesting games in here. So Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora was finally shown from Massive as well. The team making Star Wars Outlaws. So they are making two games right now, two very important games for Ubisoft. But what did you think of this one, man?
Uh, I don't know. Ubisoft, man, is just the
Oh no, what
Ubisoft
a
Forward,
hater!
bro.
Oh no.
No,
Okay.
no, Avatar. First of all, I don't know, man. The whole show, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it was 20 minutes, I think, or something like that.
No,
First, they break out.
whole show was like a fucking hour, dude.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is with Ubisoft and dancing. Why are we watching people dance? Don't know. The whole
That was
show felt like
pre-show though. That wasn't actually the show.
okay,
That was
okay,
like pre Ubisoft Forward. There was a countdown after that to
okay.
the actual showcase. So that they always do that. They preface it with like just dance bullshit. They
It's
always do
so
that.
annoying. It felt like a 2010 show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first game they showed was Avatar.
Yeah.
And that game it looked decent. It looked Avatarish.
Oh my god. You what a hater. Oh my
No, 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 no,
god.
no. It looked like an Avatar
Oh,
game. It looked
okay,
like an
yeah.
Avatar game. Like I don't
Are
like
you an Avatar?
Avatar,
Are you
so
you're
I'm not an
okay. You
Avatar
don't
fan.
like it. Okay.
I
All
don't,
right.
so I don't really care for it. But if I was an Avatar fan, I would want to play in this world because it looks good. It looks like Far Cry Avatar. Like that's what it looked
I
like.
I kind of liked what I saw.
I
Now, I will
okay.
say I like Avatar more than most people. Um I don't think it's great. It's not the most amazing thing out there, but I do like it. So, but no, the game I like what they're going for here, dude, with this game. You are it's a good premise. You're playing as a Navi that was captured and you have to like learn. It's a way to kind of let you learn the culture within the game world while being one of them, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I like obviously the world of Pandora is like fucking beautiful, right? It's a great backdrop for a video game. So I don't know, dude. I think it looks good personally.
Yeah, I say it looks good.
I'm
It's
intrigued.
just for me, it's not a game for me. I
Okay,
don't like
fair
Avatar,
enough.
so it's not a
But
game
man, you
for
can
me.
play it co-op though, man.
And
This could
I'm
be
good.
cool in co-op.
I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
just I it like it looked like the movies, and it's like that's cool, but I don't like the the movies. So it's
Fair.
like,
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. If
yeah,
you don't like this universe, then you probably
yeah.
aren't gonna like this game.
I don't like the
Like,
universe, unfortunately,
yeah,
and I get it now. I finally understand when people like I don't like Star Wars. I'm not gonna like the fucking games either. And it's like, yeah, I get it now because this game looks genuinely good. Like I'm like, holy shit, like this is an Avatar game. It looks really good. But then I'm like, do I care to play in the world though? Probably not. I'm probably not gonna get none of the references. And I don't know. It doesn't look like
that's
it's gonna
fair.
be my type of game. But what I hate on it and be like, oh, it's terrible. No, I'll say it's not the game for me. But if you're an Avatar fan, or if you just like Avatar in general, you don't have to be a super fan. You just like the movies. I think this game will be for you because it's like you're playing in the fucking movie. Like
Yeah.
it looks really good. So
Well, dude, you
that's
can
my
use
opinion.
guns and you could use the Navi weapons like bow and arrow. Like I
Yeah,
like what they're doing here. I think it's a good like a good it definitely looks like Avatar, which I think is what they should be going for. And I don't know. I'm personally intrigued. I may check this game out. I'm kind of excited to play it personally. But um I am a fan of the franchise though. Like again, like I said, I'm not a super fan, but enough that I'm into it enough where I'm willing to try a video game for sure.
yeah, and that's what
Um
I'm saying. Like, if you like the movies, I feel like this video game is definitely for you. You don't have to be a super fan. You just like the movie in general. This game looks like it could be in the movie. Like,
yep.
it looks really good. The environments look really good and everything like that. Um, so I am
Well, we
glad
get to
Ubisoft.
explore. Sorry, good.
No, I'm sorry. I am glad Ubisoft because not only with Star Wars, but with this game, they're branching out into like actual IPs. And I'm actually glad IPs are hiring actual game developers. So this is a
Yeah.
good move. This is a win-win for both of them, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, this is a good pairing for Avatar, right? Like Ubisoft's good at making open worlds, and like we were saying about Massive, right? They're really good at making open worlds that are fun to explore and like really feel immersive. And given that, I'm excited about both games for that reason because of how like their pedigree. Like I think Massive is like one of the best like open world developers out there in terms of designing a world. What you
Yeah,
feel about the gameplay, whatever, that could
yeah,
be a totally different thing. But I think in terms of building a world, designing a world, like they're really fucking good. Based on the two Division games, and I'm excited to see them work with something that isn't a fucking boring military shooter.
yeah.
So that's another reason I'm kind of excited about this too. And honestly, it's interesting because this game's first person, no third
I
person.
kind of wish it was third
Um,
person, man. I think I would have
I
been
know.
more
I was
interested if it
thinking the
was third
same
person.
thing. I was thinking the same thing watching the gameplay. I was like, I kind of wish it was third person, but it's okay. First person to work too.
Yeah,
But
I'm watching the
yeah,
gameplay again, and I will admit, like, it looks fucking fun. Like, if this is
yeah,
actual gameplay I'm looking at, like, it looks really fucking fun.
yeah,
All the shit you can do. So yeah.
yeah. We'll see. Okay. All right, moving on. The next game they showed was X Defiant. This is a multiplayer shooter.
Oh my god. This
Any
game
thoughts?
is the epitome of like why I
Twitchy.
got out of fucking multiplayer games. Like if you look at this game, this is like the
These
worst of every
streamers, bro.
fucking modern
These
first person
streamers, bro.
shooter.
Yeah, these streamers, man. They're so sweaty, dude. Like,
This is the pinnacle of that. This is like Call of Duty, the sweat. This is Apex, all those games. But Apex gunplay is still better than this game, in my opinion. But like this is like, yeah, it's just so twitchy and so like, oh, got to drink my G for rule. Oh my goodness, headshot. And it's like, oh my god,
crouch, 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 crouch.
yeah. So
spamming the crouch key. Yeah, no, for sure. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are looking forward. A lot of the younger people are looking forward to this game. So I hope they love it. But I will not be partaking in this
I was
game.
briefly at the beginning like, this looks kind of cool. But then, like, as I'm watching it more and they're showing the streamers, I'm like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely a streamer's game.
I can already see the sweats, man, like globbing
Yeah.
onto this game really hard. So I don't know. All right. Moving on. The next game they showed was the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which was actually shown at Summer Game Fest first. And Montreal, what did you think of this one?
I am thoroughly impressed with this game. This is probably out of all of the showcase, like my number one game. I can't wait to get my hands on this game. It looks so
Mm-hmm.
fucking good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like
No, this
it's
looks
a
incredible. Like
yeah, man. It's a
I was,
Metroidvania style game,
dude,
but with
with
Prince of
like
Persia.
fucking
Yeah,
good ass combat, dude.
yeah,
Like,
man.
no, and I watching this Ubisoft Forward. They showed a lot of shit they didn't show at Summer Game Fest, like moves and abilities you have and stuff,
Yep.
with like the time rewinding and things like that, and some of the aerial moves you can do. Like, dude, I'm like, oh my fucking god, bro! Like, this is my shit right here for 2D platformers. This is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for Mario. I'm not looking for Little Big Planet. Like, this is what I want. I want heavy ass combat, like really challenging combat, like 2D combat. Like this shit looks amazing. I'm kind of with you. This was the game of the entire week for me too. Like I was thoroughly impressed by what they showed for this game.
Yeah. Um Fortunately people were complaining about the protagonist. Um
What a
Saying
oh my
like yeah, people were complaining about it. Like, Persians aren't black, and it turns out he's not the Prince of Persia, y'all. He's actually trying
oh
to
my
save the Prince of
god.
Persia. So
Yeah.
he's one of the one of the guards for the prince, one of the elite guards. So yeah, I don't know. I was just thoroughly impressed, man. If this is what the franchise is going in the future, like I can't wait to the next Prince of Persia, like the actual. I mean, this is the actual Prince of Persia title. But like, actual like, you're playing as the prince and you're doing stuff and everything like that. So yeah, this game looks really fucking good though. Like,
Yeah, man.
I can't see how you can see this game and be like, nah, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
I did actually see that sentiment because people were like, I don't like 2D platformers, and I'm like,
Nah, dude. Nah, bro. You're rethink that.
well, they
This looks
they were saying, I can't understand like people are like, I can't get immersed in 2D platforming or 2D games anymore. And I'm like, really?
Well,
I
you
don't
need to get
know.
immersed though. That's not like I don't know. That's not what this game is anyways. Like
I don't
dude,
know.
I'm not here, no offense to Prince of Persia, but I'm not really here for the story for the most part. Like the first Prince of Persia Sands of Time like had a decent story, like had some pretty cool moments in it, but that game is still a gameplay game first.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This looks fucking awesome, dude. Like these combos are crazy, dude. Like some of the shit, the aerial combos and stuff. Like I feel like I was watching like Super Smash Brothers on crack. Like that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like a 2D Devil May Cry, but then they started showing the
Yeah,
platform, and I was just like, yes, man, this is
yeah,
what Prince of Persia need. I mean, this was the original Prince of Persia was 2D, and it was fine
yep,
under the principles of light platforming. And
yep,
I'm glad like they put that element in here. They didn't forget about the platforming. So it looks like it's not just going to be combat. It's going to be like a Metroidvania style game. And yeah, both of us, we like different parts of that word. I love Metroid,
yeah,
and then you love Castlevania. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yep. All right. Yeah. This. God, this looks so good, man. God. Yeah. Give me a character dual wielding swords. By the way, I mean I'm fucking in, bro. Like, give it to me. Let's go. It's like my favorite style of combat too. So yeah, no, they're like I felt like when I'm watching this, I'm like they're making this game for me, dude. Like what the hell? Like I don't know. Everything about that hit for me. So that one, very excited about that one. It's coming early next year. I think January of
Yeah,
2024,
January. Yep.
January 18th. I think they said. So looking forward to that one for sure. All right, moving on. There was an anime they showed. I don't really care about that. some Division mobile
Which
game.
fucking dragged on, by the way.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, they
just
had
get to the
Adi
fucking point.
Shankar come out and fucking
Yeah.
like I don't know, try to be funny for like 3 minutes and yeah, whatever. Um, then Division mobile game, whatever. Skull and Bones, they showed that again. There's some beta happening in August. Then they did a fucking montage. Then they showed the crew. Don't care about that. Then a bunch of Assassin's Creed junk. They showed Assassin's Creed Mirage. They did a gameplay dive on that. So,
It did
what did you think of
remind
that
me
one?
of the first Assassin's Creed, which I
Yeah.
like. It reminded me of the very first one with Altair. Um,
Hmm.
and I thought the little Mirage move that you did was really cool. That he did was
Yeah,
pretty
that was
cool.
interesting.
A lot of people weren't impressed with this game though. I saw the chat going like Z's, and then even on Twitter, people were like, just another Assassin's Creed game."
I can
And I'm like,
see
I
that.
agree. I would say I
Yeah.
can agree with that. But I've been so removed from Assassin's Creed. Like, I think a lot of these people have been
True.
playing every Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed that I actually beaten was Black Flag, and that was like what, almost 10 years ago at this point.
I have never
So
beat one.
you've never beaten one? Oh shit.
No.
Yeah. So
I mean, the only one I've played is I think Odyssey's literally the only one I've played.
Oh really? Yeah. I used to
Yeah,
be heavy into Assassin's Creed. I played
I've
Assassin's
never
Creed
been into
1,
it, man.
2,
Yeah.
Brotherhood, 3, and I played 4.
3
Um
was the only one I thought about playing because it was set in the American Revolution, which was a really cool setting, but I heard the game
yeah,
was really boring.
it
Like the
was.
gameplay was really boring, so I'd never played it.
Yeah, but it was a cool setting. I wish they would revisit some of those games and like kind of update them, or go back to
Yeah.
those time periods. But yeah, I played all of them, or not all of them up until 4. I didn't play Revolutions. I played Brotherhood, but not Revelations. But yeah,
Yeah. I love the way they showed this though. I mean, I've never played Hitman, but it kind of made me think of what I believe Hitman is, where you have a target you're trying to kill, and the objective is to get that target, not necessarily like murder every guy in the fucking complex.
yeah,
Um, so and that was the objective. I mean, he killed the guy and ran away. So, which I thought was an interesting, kind of an interesting gameplay styling as well. So
yeah. Because in the original ones, there would be certain styles that you can do. So like they'll want you to assassinate them or whatever any way you want to, and then sometimes
mhm,
they're like, "I want you to assassinate them, but I want you to make a statement." So your whole point would be to like just break in and then fight a whole bunch of guards to make a big commotion so that everybody can see him get assassinated or
yeah,
whatever. So I thought that was
yeah,
pretty cool. And like I said, it looks like they're bringing Mirage is going right back to the roots and bringing that back. And I'm glad it takes place in like just one city and not a whole countryside or whatever. So
yeah.
I'm glad
That's
about
another
that as
reason I'm
well.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Is that fact? So yeah. But yeah, after that it was the Star Wars Outlaws gameplay, which we already talked about. So that was pretty much it. I mean, to your point, do we need this? Could they have like they could have put this in Summer Game Fest itself or, you know,
Yes, I think they could have
Xbox's
done this.
showcase?
I think this
Yeah.
was a big waste of their money. They could have put this in Summer Game Fest or even Sony's or Xboxes or something like that. But hey, man,
Dude, oh my god, I'm watching some of this post show Prince of Persia gameplay, bro. God, these combos, like what the fuck, dude? Like the movement and everything is just
I can't see how people saw that and was like, nah, I'm good.
what,
Like,
dude?
this
What are
is
you
real
talking
gaming
about?
right here. This
Oh
is
my
real gaming.
god, this looks awesome, dude. Like, all right, whatever, man. Yeah, I don't know. Um, they can miss out. It's fine. Now, again, not saying to pre-order it. Don't fucking pre-order it. Okay, don't fucking do it. But no, it looks really good. This looks excellent. So,
Yeah, the platform was
um,
really fucking good. Holy shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, dude. No, go to 155 on the YouTube video and just look at that gameplay real quick. Like, Jesus Christ. Those combos. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So, all right. Anyways, while you're looking at that, let's talk about what you're really excited about. We got some Armored Core 6 gameplay this week.
Yeah,
Montreal,
man.
how fucking hype are you for
You
this?
man, I know I said earlier, like maybe a couple episodes ago, or when this was first announced, that they don't put elements of Dark Souls in this game. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and smack my old self. I'm glad they put elements of Dark Souls in this game. This game looks fucking good as shit, yo. And
Yeah.
I can care less about the fucking Armored Core enthusiasts. I started playing Armored Core at Armored Core 3. But I can care less about, oh my god, the turn speed, because there's actual stat for turn speed for turn speed and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, and
Um
the buying bullets and all that, that seems to be going away too.
Yeah, so like I could care less about that. I think a lot of people are forgetting that this game is needs to be accessible. It needs to sell, right? So you got to get rid of like not get rid of it, but like make it more user friendly. Armored Core was always a very hardcore mech game. And the elements I saw in this game was all the elements I always wanted this game to be a little bit more faster, but like in a good way. It was always fast in a weird way. And what I mean by that, it was like a super hardcore game. If you go look at Armored Core 4 for answer, and look at like the multiplayer for that game, people used to hold their
Yeah.
controllers backwards because that was like the optimal way to play the game, and and play it and like do crazy boosts and everything like that with the game. It was totally unfriendly to like newer players. With this game, and then the mission structure for like fighting the NPCs and stuff like that, all mech games, even Damon X Machina has this issue, or like if it's not another mech you're fighting, like all the little bullshit like tanks and everything that you fight are not fucking fun to fight. It's like a really boring game. Um, and I think they fixed it. I think that by structuring their missions after like almost like dungeons, like because it looked like a fucking dungeon that you're in, like you're at a
Yeah.
base, but it looked like you were in a dungeon. And I'm really glad that they're going with this longer mission structure instead of like short mission structures. I'm pretty sure some missions are going to be really short,
Yeah.
but I'm really glad that like, you know, we got these boss fights in there that are like akin to Dark Souls or akin to like, the Sekiro series and everything of that nature. I'm just really glad the good elements of those games are showing up in Armored Core.
Yeah.
Because I think this is what the series needed to evolve, and I'm glad they went this route. I already see people like purists, like I said, is complaining about it and everything. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Um, I think this will
Right.
sell the game and move the franchise forward. Gatekeeping has helped this game, but this is one of the games that where I'm joking when I say gatekeeping has helped the game, but this is one of the games that actually needed like outside influence because we're just
Yeah.
going to keep getting the same bullshit. And I think From Software, especially Miyazaki, kind of realized that, and that's why they put elements of what they did into the game. So when
Well,
I
I think
saw
he
the
realized that
game,
with Elden Ring, right? Like,
you said what?
I think he realized that same thing with Elden Ring, right? Like,
Yeah, he did. That's why I think Elden Ring is way more accessible than any other from software titles,
right.
um, in my opinion. Uh, and yeah, I'm just super excited for the game, man. Like the gameplay looks really good. The blade combat was always okay, but like man, you got combos now, like little
Mm,
like button combos and stuff. Uh, yeah, man, it just looks really fucking fun, man. I don't know, it looks almost like an Armored Core adventure game, which I wouldn't mind at all, but a lot of people
yeah.
be upset about that. So I'm glad they're doing like long mission structures and stuff like that. So yeah, man.
Yeah, no, this looks so sick, dude. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's just so many fucking good ass games coming out the back half of this year, man. Like, I am like losing my mind like thinking about all of them. It's like because this is coming in August. We got Armor Core 6 coming in August. Like,
Yeah, and then that
uh,
Atlas game that's coming in August as well. So
yeah, 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 dude. I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot to play. So
yeah,
yeah, I might not be no more multiplayer games for a while. I think. But yeah, I don't know much more that what else there is to say about Armor Core 6, man. Like it just looks really fucking solid. Um, the mobility and everything just looks fucking amazing. We didn't really see the HUD at all, so we don't know what all that necessarily looks like in game, but I think that's fine. We don't necessarily need to see that here, but um, yeah, I mean, I'm excited personally as somebody who's not like a huge fan of From's games to maybe get a peek of their gameplay and something I'm much more interested in terms of style and setting. You know?
hmm Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be very user friendly while appeasing to the hardcore, the old fan base and everything like that. But I always think the genre in general needed to evolve, and hopefully, like other mech games, kind of look at this gameplay, and if when the actual game comes out, and if the game is really good and the quality of life changes are really good, other mech games kind of follow suit, because like the franchise really needed to evolve. I think that's why it went out of style earlier, because I mean, if mech fans are listening to this, like I'm gonna be honest with y'all, the early game of all mech games, no matter what kind of mech game it is, unless it's Zone of Vendors, right? They fucking suck. Like it's not fun at all to play at all. It's
Yeah.
boring as fuck. But once you build your mech out and you're going against other like harder NPC mechs or player mechs, then it gets really fun. That's where the fun is. But you just gotta go through that boring grind to get there. If that makes any sense. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, have you ever played like Ace Combat or something like that, where you're not
Mm, I
you're
haven't,
fighting
but
like the ground forces first, like, oh, go
yeah,
blow up this
yeah,
enemy fucking tank, or this
yeah,
satellite, and it's like you're
yeah. Or these infantry.
yeah, and then later you're doing that dog fights and stuff like that. Like that's what a lot of mech games are kind of structured after, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, right. You don't fight proper mechs for a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. All right. I think we're gonna punt the last two things to next week because we've
Yeah,
been going for
that sounds good.
over 3 hours. This is our longest episode in a long ass time. So, yeah, which is our own fault. We talked about fucking Diablo 4 for like an hour, but it was worth it. There was a lot to talk about this week. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good games. Very excited for the back half of this year, man. It's looking really fucking nice right now. So I'm getting personally very stoked, and I need to jump back into single player so I can get myself ready for all these games. But all right, Montrell, let's wrap it up here. So if you guys like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, that's going to be it for us this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed this long Summer Game Fest episode, and we will see you next week.